Hello, everybody. Welcome to New Year's Eve. Holy banana bread. We're here. We're gonna have some fun tonight. I got a lot of content for you. We're going to do this week as well as everything else. When I say this week, though, it's gonna be more or less like this year. So I've got the top 8 news stories, financial, that we've covered on this week, and we're gonna count those down tonight. So the top 8, they're coming up. It's gonna be fun. We're also, as I've been promising, we're going to look at my predictions for 2023 and we're going to rank them. We're going to grade them. We're going to find out if I'm a profit or if I'm peddling some snake oil. So we're somewheres on that spectrum. We're going to do that tonight too. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Also, all right, I'm putting this out here. After we get through this content, I will drop a link if any of you want to come on and say hi. That's going to be there. You have that possibility as well. So let's sit back. Let's enjoy ourselves. Let's have a good time. And keep in mind, I've had people say, how long is this going to go, Candace? And I'm like, I don't know. It really comes down to how much you guys talk, how long it takes me to get through everything. So keep it going. Keep the questions coming. You don't have to wait till the content's over to start asking questions. Start right away. It may take us an hour to get through the new stuff. Who cares? I don't care. Just share what you want. This is for you guys as much as it is for me. So let's have some fun here tonight. We're going to start. We're going to start quickly by holy banana bread. We got so much happening in chat already. Thank you guys who are here. I know this is awesome. I really appreciate that you guys chose to spend New Year's Eve over here with me. So that's fantastic. Those of you who woke up New Year's morning, maybe with a little bit of a headache, not sure, but maybe. Thank you to you guys too. You guys watching in the replay, you all rock. Let's do this. Let's have some fun. Now, now this is hilarious. 2:51 in the afternoon, Vancouver Isle guy is here going, early bird catches the worm. Yeah, it sure does. Wow, I dropped in a few times during the afternoon after I put this up. And there's always been somebody there waiting. Now, it might be that somebody just logged in and decided to just left a page on YouTube saying, oh, this way I won't miss it. I don't know. Jonathan says, will there be a countdown? There won't be one on CBC. This is all up to you. I don't think I'll last till midnight. But here's what we will do. You know what? At the end of the stream, no matter what time it is we're going to end it, let's just do a countdown. We'll just do one anyway. It's midnight somewhere, right? So we'll have some fun with that. And yeah, wow, you two are early. Yeah, because look at this. Jonathan was in at 3:28. So definitely early. We'll jump ahead here. Tim Smith, I'm ready to unleash my stock predictions for 2024. Bring them on, Tim. Let's see what you got. Let's see what you got up in your tickle trunk there. And that was just me letting people know that we were at 7 o'clock because I imagine at least 1 or 2 people probably showed up at 4 going, wait a minute, where's the show? So that tends to happen. And yeah, 4 p.m. Pacific. So 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. So Tim Smith. Okay, let's just jump ahead here. Tim Smith says, January, I am projected to hit $300 in stock dividends for the first time. Thank you, everyone, for your help. Hey, that's a good milestone to hit, Tim. Maybe by next year you can improve on that big time. So we'll have to see how this year turns out for us, right? Let's see here. Just checking to see if you is here. Okay, and Prairie investors in the house. Happy New Year to everyone. Yeah, Happy New Year's, folks. Here's Lisa with a Happy New Year. So hello, everyone. Happy New Year. Dave D's in the house. Hello, Dave. Good to see you, my friend from Alberta. Happy New Year, everyone, says Dave. A nice hello, Candace from Vancouver Isle guy. MC Paradis. She won a membership on our last live stream. Happy New Year, Candace, and everyone. And we got Jordan in the house. Jordan's hello, Candace, and all of chat family. Hope all are having a wonderful night so far. Hey, so far this has been the bomb. And now the FBI is watching the stream because I said the B word. JJ says, hello. Happy New Year's at 7 p.m. in Montreal. Awesome. Yeah, it's a great night. The last night of the year. I love it. All right, Vic has got a good story. I hope you've already typed it in, Vic. Because I want to hear your good story. Mario says, hello, everyone. And here we go. Country Auto Garage, Happy New Year, banana bread. Absolutely. It's a good way to ring it in. Jill says it looks a little dark in there. And she misspelled my name, but she corrected herself very quickly. I have her trained. JJ says, caught the tail end of Candace mentioning to say hi, and hell yeah, I'm down for it. Awesome, 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 awesome. So many hearts. Holy banana bread. Vic says, saw a doctor through TELUS for a prescription for a med to quit smoking, and the med was delivered to me, never left home. Nice. So you're like, excuse me, Vic is like hours away from quitting smoking. So this is fantastic. I'm wishing you all the luck, Vic. You can do it. You can do it. I know you can. Chad says, made it through all the smash that like button. Yeah, absolutely. Hit the like button. Let people know we got a small little party going on in here. Let's get the folks in. Let's break our number. I think the most we've ever had at one time in the live stream has been 42. So let's do 43 tonight. JJ says, going cold turkey all at once is ballsy. Positive vibes and full respect. Hopefully the medication to help you stop will help with that as well. Larry says, at the bar on shot 4. Happy New Year, Trader fam. We got Larry from the bar. Awesome. We'll have to watch Larry's typing as we go and see if words start to get a little bit kind of hokey as we move a bit further. Vic says, last half a pack of smokes will light up for last time at 11:57. Okay, well, that gives you 3 minutes. 3 minutes. So you might have to breathe fast, or I actually don't know how long it takes for someone to smoke a cigarette, but hey, I'm just guessing. Vic says, Chad says, nice, Vic. What did the doctor give you? Champex? So gotta find out. Vic will let us know. Kawachin Technology Tutor says, Happy New Year's, everyone. Happy New Year's to you as well. So Vic got Champex and Zyban. There we go. Chad, both. Wow, be careful with Champex. 95% of the world will quit in 0.5 milligrams. So if 0.5 works for you, split the 1 milligram. So there you go. There you go. Vic says, started Champex a while back. Makes me feel almost sick to smoke. Well, that's good. That's good. Don't feel sick, so don't smoke in that case. JJ says, there he is, or gently massage that thumbs up, whatever is your vibe. And yes, Larry is at the bar. We got Jay Borg in the house. Hi, Jace. Jay's wishing everybody a happy new year. Here's Trevor with a happy and prosperous New Year's to all Mountaineers. Oh, there we go. Absolutely. All right. So we got all these news stories. We got 8 of them. Let's check out what's at number 8. So we'll bring up the first one here. So number 8, rising rents. Yikes. Yeah, we had a whole big issue with rising rents this year. So that has absolutely been a problem. Just give me a second here. I'm just pulling up my side documentation because I actually have some numbers for you guys on those rising rents. All right, here we go. So here's a really interesting thing. I was looking today on rentals.ca, and they have the averages out. So the average rent in Canada rose 13.6% for a 1-bedroom. Now, 2 bedrooms were a little bit better at 10.5%. And 3 bedrooms rose by 5.8%. So that's not great. It's not good at all. However, here's the thing that I thought was really interesting. There actually are some cities where the rent went down. So we have a few cities in Ontario where the rent actually dropped over the last year. For Toronto, the price of a 1-bedroom apartment in Toronto actually fell by 2% over the last year. Barrie, Ontario, the price of a 2-bedroom fell by 5.5%. That's not too shabby. Now, here's the best place. Niagara Falls, the price of the 1-bedroom in Niagara Falls fell by 2%, and a 2-bedroom fell by 1.2%. So yeah, we got a few things coming out. Of course, we all know why the rents are high. I mean, because of the rate hikes. The rate hikes means that the landlords are paying more on the mortgages on their buildings, so they're passing that on to the tenants. Some of them are being a little bit creative, and of course, we also during the year had that whole issue as well with short-term versus long-term, and how some cities are trying to make it harder to offer short-term rentals, like uh, I was going to say a bread and breakfast, but you know, it's just it's just not really good out there and it comes to that way. Anyway, that was our top story. Just something nice and simple off the top. The whole rising rent problem. I think this is probably going to persist into 2024. Even when we do start getting rate cuts, I see a lot of landlords, as long as there's a shortage of housing, I think a lot of landlords are going to keep on pushing up the rents because that's the other side of this coin is the whole issue of the fact that there's not enough housing for everybody. So, good old rents. We'll have to see how that is all going to work out. Richard from Montreal. We got a few people from Montreal tonight. Happy New Year, everyone. And once again, another Montreal. So 2 Montreal in a row. JJ says, I got 5K ready to deploy to TFSA first thing tomorrow morning. Make that, well, I guess you could deploy it tomorrow morning, but the market's not opening until Tuesday. So just sort of keep that in mind. The market's closed tomorrow because of New Year's Day. Tim Smith says, what do you all pay for rent? I pay $900 shared accommodations, but I'm looking to rent a suite in February. Will likely be between 1,100 and 1,300. I'm in BC outside of Vancouver. Oh, holy banana bread. You'll probably want to stay on the very outskirts of Vancouver if you're looking to get some half decent rents, I think. From when I lived in Vancouver, I know the cheapest rents back then used to be out around I think around Surrey, or sometimes Westminster. You could sometimes get some, but Surrey I think was the cheapest. Chad says, and Vic, if you feel like a smoke, do some push-ups. The cravings will fade over time and become less frequent. All the power to you. So there you go. Push-ups, that'll help you get into shape as well. So you could have a twofer. Change to spare says, sorry, can't stay. Got a date. We'll watch the after show. Happy New Year's. Well, Happy New Year's to you too. And I hope your date goes swell. Let's see here. Bleak is in the house saying, hey team. Hello, Bleak. Good to see you here. Chad says, spent that change, spare change. Trevor says, I quit 16 years ago by holding a cig and a light, making the decision mine rather than FMO, making me rage for one. Okay, good. Well, good for you. 16 years. You've beat it. You're now officially a super non-smoker. So that's awesome. JJ says, enjoy the date and stay safe. It may get hectic later tonight when midnight strikes near with large public crowds. There'll be a lot of hooting and hollering, that's for sure. Mario says, Killam REIT rents out their apartments in Ottawa for over $2,000. Wow, that is crazy. And I'm not the only one who thinks that. So does Chad. Wow, $2,000. That's the thing. If you take somebody who is, let's say, not super skilled, somebody on the lower end of the of the pay scale, there's no way they'd even be able to afford an apartment at that. Trevor says, so many, well, I guess the number sign, which is on, it's on 3. So 3 packs a day when it was relatively cheap. Now it's a rich man's sport. Holy cow. And Chad was up to 60 a day. 60. Like, is there enough time for that? Let's see. Vancouver Isle guy says, we pay 0 rent squatting on Crown land. Sorry, King Charles. Hey, if it works. Now, I imagine you must have to produce your own energy, maybe, if you're on, squatting. But, hey, why not? Charles says, Papa Squat. Okay. Tim Carroll's in the house. Happy New Year's, crew and Candace. And Trevor says, Brampton rent a bed for $800 a month and 2 to 4 beds. Whoops. There we go. 2 to 4 beds to a room. Okay. Wow. No, I mean, it's pretty crazy, I think, in somewhat. Larry says, Is your viewer metrics mostly Canada? 95%. Roughly 90, actually, is it at 95 or 85? I think it's 85% Canada, 5% USA, and then all kinds of little things from different countries. So, yeah, I get a whole bunch of, well, I think a lot of times I always get people coming in from some strange countries telling me that my SEO is bad and that they can fix it and make me have wonderful, wonderful viewership because SEO, and then tags, and YouTube actually says tags don't even matter. But anyway, that's another story. Vic says I'm over 300 pounds, so going up, down, basement is tough enough, let alone push-ups. Understood. Understood. Let's see. Vancouver Isle guy says, just joking. We pay 352 a month. Oh, okay. So you're not squatting. All right. That's cool. Vic says, I'm also planning to lose weight. Well, good for you, Vic. Good, 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 good. You'll be a new Vic by the end of 2024. Larry says, I sold my house, have a roommate now. I pay $500, all bulls included. Wow. Okay. How many bulls do you have? I think you meant something else, but it's more funny in my head to think of you having a bunch of bulls in your house. Chad says, weight has nothing to do with it. Go for a walk then. Yeah, absolutely. Vic says, I can't move to the USA. Health insurance is too costly. Yeah, absolutely. It is very, very costly. Let's look at number 7. You guys want to know what number 7 is? Well, number 7 for the year. Here we go. Strikes. It is strikes. So between, it seemed like everybody was on strike in 2023. Everyone from the auto workers, federal public servants, port workers, and of course, who can't forget about Hollywood? Hollywood, you had the writers and the actors on strike. So it was a huge year for strikes. In fact, a lot of people spent a lot of time on the picket lines, but on the backside of that, they've had record. I'm speaking like the hunter from Bugs Bunny. And they had record wages, and there were a lot of labor protections that were won by a lot of different people in those strikes. Luckily, they all came to a head. Of course, the one that we watched, I think, the most was the port strike over in BC. That was a little bit kind of unnerving. Anything that disrupts the supply chain, anything disrupting the supply chain is just not good, especially after all of the inflation that we had. So that is that's always fun. JJ says too many bulls clearly. And Jordan, South Ontario, and we pay $1,180 all inclusive for a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath apartment. That's actually not bad, Jordan. I think you got a pretty good deal there. Tim says, does everyone agree with the rule of 1/3 of income for rent, 1/3 expenses, and 1/3 investments? It's not a bad rule. I think it's hard though to get 1/3 in today with the rent so high. I think it's very hard to get 1/3 of your salary alone for rents. But if you can pull it off, yeah, absolutely. And in a case like that, I would even go and say, if you can get 1/3 for rent, 1/3 for investments, the 1/3 for expenses, see if you can cut that down even a bit more. Maybe get a little more over onto the investments. Jonathan says, "Wascally wabbit." There we go. That was actually kind of fun to say, to be honest. So thank you, Jonathan. Chad says, just got to eat right, Vic. Lots of raw broccoli will lower estrogen level, and raw onions will boost testosterone level, which help burn fat. And there we go. So get your testosterone up, get your estrogen down, and you'll be in great shape, Vic. Let's see. After strike, stamps cost $10, movies $20, cars cost $100,000. Yeah, it is. It's a downside. Everything is costing us a lot more this year. Inflation was a little bit crazy. Richard is saying 2024 will be a year for Bitcoin. Yeah, well, we got a couple things happening for Bitcoin. We got the halvening, and it would almost floor me if we didn't see a U.S. spot Bitcoin ETF. So between the two of those, Bitcoin should be in for a pretty good year. Tim says, I'm a PASAC, so PSAC member, but was a scab during the strike. I knew PASAC wasn't going to get more than they were offered a year before they didn't, and I've had heat with them since the vax mandates. Okay, fair enough. Philip says, I pay $699.34 per month, everything included except the internet. Langford, BC, of course. I live in a motel. Well, yeah, I've actually I lived in a place when I first moved. I lived in Bridgewater, Nova Scotia for about a year. Just I was there for some work, and I actually moved into a hotel there. And that was actually, and it wasn't that bad, other than the fact that there was more people roaming around than you probably want. Sophie's in the house saying Happy New Year's, crew. And Philip says, but most apartments here, market type 2100, one bedroom, no utilities, no parking. Yikes. Chad says, Tim, I don't, but my situation is far different than others. And Vic wants to know if anyone here besides him loves the snacks. I used to love the snacks, but I have given up all snack foods. Well, bad snacks. I'll have like an apple for a snack now, or a banana, or maybe some grapes. But and I made it all the way through the holidays without a single piece of bad food. So I'm very happy about that. JJ says, Western Montreal, pay $1,430 for a 4.5 apartment. This excludes hydro and the internet. That's not bad. But the whole thing is Quebec has really good rents. Overall, when you're looking province-wise, Quebec has been really good. Like Montreal, being one of the biggest cities in Canada, is one of the more realistic cities when it comes to rents. Absolutely. Chad says, $2,100. That's a mortgage payment in Saskatchewan. I knew Saskatchewan was going to come up, Chad. I was just waiting for it. JJ says, also known as 2-bed and 1 bathroom. Nice. And Ashish is in the house saying, Happy New Year, fellow mountain financiers. Good to see you, Ashish. I know you sent me, you replied to one of my emails, and I didn't get back to you because it disappeared on me. Sometimes if you put any kind of a link in a reply when you're on the YouTube, it will actually kill that email. So I'm not entirely sure what you said because YouTube killed it, and I don't know, or either it dropped it in. I'm not sure. Anyway, I just wanted you to know that I wasn't ignoring you. YouTube did some funky stuff to it, probably because there was, I think, a link or something of some sort in it. Larry says, I'm 30 to 40% expenses, the rest investing. Nice. And Prairie says, love snacks, but everything in moderation. That's the key, right? Moderation is exactly like, I try to have my coffee in moderation. And Jonathan says, good for you, Candace. Keep it up. I will. I don't even miss them, to be honest. Richard says, my rent is $825 for a 2-bedroom apartment with a full-size kitchen. I got this rent way back when they were good. Nice. And Vic says, it was tough to see me on the big screen. Vic, you used this joke already. And don't put yourself down, dude. Don't put yourself down. Let's see, whale Bitcoin holder, Vic. Yeah, there you go. If you want to be a whale when it comes to Bitcoins. Let's see, JJ says, dang, Richard, that's hella cheap. Which area of Montreal are you in? All right. Chad says, true beauty comes from inside, not the exterior. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Vic says, Candace inspired me to get healthy and a better investor. Oh, there you go. Well, thank you. Thank you. And of course, Vic says, I want the next Hammond. Woohoo. Richard is saying Bill. All right. Philip says, Government of Canada giving new apartment buildings grace on GST. But what are they going to do with the savings? Reduce rent prices or just hoard profits? Greed. We all know about greed. I would say they're probably going to do the latter, to be honest. But you might get the occasional landlord who is not in it for the greed and will pass on some of the savings. Because I've known people who, within real estate who actually did care about their tenants and did their best to keep rents down and things like that. Especially if you have a tenant that's been very reliable. I mean, you want to bend over backwards, because sometimes when you have that person who is always on time, they don't wreck the apartment, they don't cause issues. That those tenants are pretty darn valuable in my books, for sure. Tim says, what expenses are everyone looking to cut in 2024? Mine is alcohol. Speaking of alcohol, I don't drink, but I watched this video today on a guy who went in and he was showing how much of the alcohol he bought for New Year's was taxes. So his total bill, his total bill. So he went into the liquor store and bought $204 worth of alcohol, and the taxes worked out to $114, I believe. So just over 50% of what he was spending in the liquor store was going into taxes. So yeah, alcohol is a good thing to cut, Tim, because you're paying a good chunk of taxes to the government when you're buying alcohol. JJ says, Heart of Downtown, nice. And thank you for the feedback, Mountain Financiers. That is actually kind of sticking a bit. We may not be the mountain or the banana bread militia. Maybe we're the Mountain Financiers, because that sounds kind of cool. Vic says, whoops, Ontario to sell booze at convenience stores. N'est-ce pas? Yes, that is apparently in the works. So, it'll be like it is in Quebec. I mean, Quebec, you could buy, you go to the corner store and you could buy beer, and you can do that in the States as well. So kind of the same thing. Country Auto Garage says, my tenant pays. Awesome. Always good to have your tenants pay. Ontario cheap for booze. Richard says, mind you, the building was built in 1875 and unrenovated, but charming. Nice. Vic says, anyone get an iPhone from Wealthsimple? I was a little short of $100K to transfer. Yeah, it's a big transfer to get the free iPhone. But I mean, if you were looking to move to Wealthsimple and you have $100K to transfer, and it's a free iPhone, so that's like $1,000. Or, well, actually, if it's brand new, it's probably closer to $2,000. Let's see. Philip says, LOL, tax is American. It's all about death and taxes. In Canada, it's tax the people to death. Yeah, exactly. In Canada, I'm sure if they could tax you after you pass on, they would do that too. JJ says, oh, so everything is run down or still well maintained. A bit off-putting. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and Prairie says, we had LCs at Sobeys in Manitoba for the past few years. Okay, there we go. Dave D says, you can order a beer with your pizza here in Alberta. Yeah, that makes sense. I think you can do that. Like, I mean, in Ontario, you can do it through like Uber, or Skip the Dish. I don't know. Those different places, like some of them will go to the alcohol store for you, and I think you have to show ID when they deliver the alcohol to you. So you can still get almost anything you want. Chad says, nope, don't have 100K yet. And well, simple. Maybe another 2 years I'll be there. Well, good luck, hopefully. JJ says, if only Wealthsimple offered that iPhone deal for OGers, I started using Wealthsimple way back in 2021. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I wonder if they have a rule if you transfer it out and then transfer it back in the next time they have a promotion. But that's just a pain. That's just a pain. Just to get an iPhone, that's still a pain. Philip says, we got single pane windows in motel built in 1940, but I like it, but we'll have to move sometime in the new year. Okay, well, hopefully you can find a good place at a pretty good price. Tim says, what do you feel is the number one reason a lot of recently arrived mass migrants are leaving Canada? Lack of jobs, cost of living, other. I think there's always a bit of factors. Sometimes people who come to Canada, one, they either didn't research it and they had sort of unrealistic expectations. Two, they got here and they had another issue with all of these things. So whether it be a lack of jobs or whether it be a cost of living, or more likely, the lack of a place to live. So the housing crisis, I think, is a little bit, if I were to immigrate to a country and I get there and I find I can't find a place to live, and I'm gonna have to live in a tent or something, I'm probably going to rethink that immigration. Vic says, Dave D, where you at in Alberta? Let's see. Richard says, I can buy wine at the corner store in Montreal. Absolutely. Oilers. So, okay, there we go. Yeah, Edmonton. JJ says, yeah, Candace, transferring out is too much of a hassle to deal with waiting for the next deal. Who knows when? Plus, Team Samsung. Apple sucks. Okay, all right, fair enough. I'm Team Apple. I'm sorry. But part of it is because everything works seamlessly together, which is really, really good. I do like that. And plus, Apple is really good at processing the videos and stuff. So it works. Philip, options, expensive or cheap apartment, RV, truck, and camper, a tent. It's all about options. Oh, Skiz, am I too late? Oh, Skiz, this is not a giveaway one, but I'll drop a membership. We'll see if we can hit you. This almost feels like like a mute point because you just don't seem to be able to win. But here, give me a second. Let me get this going for you. We'll take another. We'll take one shot. Maybe New Year's is it. Maybe New Year's is your day. We'll find out in a second, Skiz. While we're waiting for that to process, Vic says, "Whoops, doop-a-doop. We should have local mountain finance meetups. Anyone beside me and Dave in northern Alberta?" Well, that's a good question. Oh, Robert Collins won. So sorry, Skiz. We tried. I just don't know what it is. But as I said, Skiz, if you reach out to me at my email address, it's right on the contact part of YouTube. I will e-transfer you enough for a membership. Just do that because I want to see you as a member. Let's see. JJ says, I would say a combination of a lack of employment and high demand of affordable housing. Yeah, and exactly. I mean, that's the whole thing. The employment, but definitely the housing. I think the housing is big right now. They are making strides to try to fix some of the employment issues for people immigrating in, especially the not recognizing credentials. And that's a real problem. I used to work with somebody when I used to manage a call center, and she was actually a doctor, but none of her credentials were recognized when she came to Canada, and she had to work in a call center of all places. Here's somebody who could, basically do open heart surgery, and they're in a call center. That's hilarious. It's not really. It's kind of sad. Chad said it's your day, Skiz. No, I don't think it is. As somebody who's a Canucks fan, Vic says, Skiz, where are you at? Kyle's passive income investor live stream. Oh, Skiz is saying, no, I was just asking if I'm too late for the stream. No, we're just in. We just started. We've only looked at 8 and 7 on the top news stories of the year so far. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff. We got tons of time. No worries. Prep the lottery wins for Skiz. Yeah, absolutely. See, look at this. Everybody wants you to win, Skiz. It's just, yeah, Shuck says it. Go for Skiz. And now it's at the point that when anybody else wins, people are going, no! I feel bad for the people who win, who have all these people upset that they won instead of Skiz. But no, everybody who wins, you guys all deserve it. That's cool. Let's see. Rip. Poor Skiz. I can afford a membership. Come on now. All right. I just want to see you in the green, Skiz, and when we can cheer and we can celebrate. Mario says, I can't handle it. Skiz not winning. I know. This is hilarious. JJ says, start a GoFundMe for Skiz for the membership. That would be hilarious. Chad says, only been 1 year self-investing, managed to save $54,000 roughly. That's not bad. That's a pretty good job for just 1 year of self-investing, Chad. So congrats on that. You're doing well. Vic says NASDAQ was down 33% in 2022, up 44% in 2023. Yes. The NASDAQ did really, really good. They were one of the big surprise early in the year. Larry says, Six and I'm a long Tricon rental company. I think $7 something now sticks price and $14 something per share with assets will behave. Will all right. We'll have 28 in assets 2028. That's my New Year's gift for everyone plus dividend. There you go. Accreditation accreditation is a big factor. Let's see. Richard says temporary visas are really stupid. We lost a lot of good employees over it. Yeah, I can understand that. How much is that membership? That's a good question. I think it's like I don't know. I think it's like $2.99, or I think after tax it's like three and a change. It's uh no, it's not $6.99 a day. That's hilarious. 54K in 1 year. Do you make 150K per year or live with your parents? Well, he lives in Saskatchewan, so that's part of it. I think that helps because some of the expenses are not so high there. Chad is 50 years old, and I hope. All right, let's get number 6 going. I caught up. Whenever I catch up with the chat, we'll drop another one. All right, so what was the number 6 news story? And it was the Online News Act, good old C-18. So C-18 got put into law, and nobody likes this thing. This thing is it's just crazy. So basically, when C-18 came out, we had 2 tech companies. So basically, Facebook and Google, both of them threatened to cut off access to Canadian news over this bill. Now, Facebook basically came out and said, we're doing it. Even before the bill went into law, Facebook did it. Facebook said, yeah, we're just cutting Canadian access. Google at least negotiated, and they came to a deal, $100 million, costing them $100 million a year. But Meta's like, no, we're not going to negotiate. We don't care. And then here's the thing. Meta haven't lost any Canadian users. They probably have lost some, just normal, but they haven't actually lost anything from this deal, and it's not hurting them at all in a bit. So you're probably never going to see the news return to Facebook, unless of course this gets repealed when the next government comes into power. But this was a little bit of a big mess. There was also, there's been a few different bills, some of these internet bills that the government has just been pushing out that have been a little bit crazy, but this one doesn't make a lot of sense because a lot of traffic that goes to these websites, they're not getting them anymore. Luckily, I'm really glad that Google made the deal, only because, I'm a person who goes hunting for news because of This Week. And if Google was all of a sudden no longer allowing news to come up in their searches, it would have made it a little bit more difficult. So just one of those things to mention. Now back, of course, to the membership thing. Vic is now saying it's $6.99 a minute. No, it's not $6.99 a minute. Tim says, Candace, are there any famous investors or maybe YouTubers who influences your approach to investing? That's a really good question. I think one of the first YouTubers I followed, I don't want to say religiously, but I followed a lot was Brandon Beavis. And then, of course, Canadian in a T-shirt. So between the two of them, I respect both of them a lot. I don't know if my style really is reflective of theirs because I tend to take a very fundamental style. But at the same time, I do like their information, and I'll be the first to refer someone over to one of their channels if they've done something. If like for example, somebody was asking about the Norbic gamut, and I was like, you know what? I don't use Questrade, but I know Canadian T-shirt has a great video on it, so I'll send people over to them. And now I know them, so that was kind of the big thing in 2023. Like, tell you the story. Early in the year, this year, I'm just sitting alone doing my thing. Small little YouTube channel. I haven't been monetized for that long. I'm not that big. Then out of the blue, I get this email from Brandon Beavis. I was like, oh, hi. And he's like, yeah, he says, I've been watching what you're doing, and I'd like to set up a meeting with you to talk about Blossom. I'm like, okay, sure. So, I sat down for about an hour, and the two of us, we had this a big long conference, and he really loved, the sort of the care that I put in my videos and the fundamentals that I put behind it, and felt that because of the way I present information and the way I teach, that I'm a perfect fit for Blossom. So, and right now, if you look at all of the Blossom ambassadors, I think there's about, at least on the Canada side, I think there's about 20 of us, maybe. I'm the smallest. I'm still the smallest, but Brandon saw something in what I was doing, and I was like, okay, this is cool. So that's kind of neat, because normally when you have somebody you follow and somebody, I don't want to say idolize, but somebody who you think, oh my God, this is a person who I really respect, you don't actually expect to meet them, and you don't actually expect to, have conversations with them, but that does happen. And that to me is really fantastic. Um, he's a very, very approachable person. So it was kind of neat to have, you know, just, have talks with him, and Canada, Canadian in a t-shirt. His first name is Adrian. So it has been really, really cool. Anyway, let's get on to, I'm going off on a tangent here. Chad says, I don't live with them, just don't have payments, Skiz. No car payments, no mortgage, no kids, no wife. So, okay. So no expenses for Chad, pretty much. JJ says, one of my 2024 goals would be to set aside 1 to 2% of income to support creators like yourself, Candace, as part of my guilt-free spending money dial. I like that. Everyone should do that, especially people who follow me. No, sorry, I was just playing with that. But yeah, no, that's actually a very, very nice thing. A lot of people, like, YouTube is not an easy path. Like, you see the ones who are, who make like insane, crazy money on YouTube. And then there's the rest of us who, like for YouTube, the first year, you're making absolutely nothing, like zilch. Really, honestly, until you start getting sponsorship deals and you start to get closer to like 100,000 subscribers, that's when you start to make a little bit of money. But even then, it really depends on a whole bunch of factors. I could go on about YouTube for a long time. Tim says, C18 didn't make sense. Agreed. They want companies to pay for linking to Canadian news sites, but won't linking give those online newspapers more hits, views? They will. So why make them pay for that? That's so strange. And it's funny, like politically, I'm a lot more right than Jill is. So Jill tends to lean a little bit to the left. And this was actually something we both agreed on. I was just like, okay, normally we don't always agree on some of the politics, but this one we actually both, from both sides. Now, when I say I lean right, I see myself as being kind of a central right, but that's still kind of cool place to be. Vic says, Chad, better side 50, they say. Let's see, awaiting to try Moo or Weeble. Well, Weeble sounds like it's pretty close. Like, I use Weeble now for the watch list for the channel, because that's pretty. I like what they got there. Chad says, feel old, the body, too many years in the trades. Vancouver Isle guy says, mainstream news is all propaganda now. Can't be any more obvious. All right, and Vic says, I'll miss Munger at next Berkshire meeting. Oh dear, are they going to let you take his seat, Vic? I hope so. And Vic says Beavis's dad is awesome. He's a former pro. That's right, Mark Beavis. So that's one of the reasons I changed the channel from Brandon Beavis to Beavis Wealth, because Brandon's dad now does most of the content, while Brandon is busy doing the Blossom stuff. But yeah, no, Mark is pretty darn cool. And I've been on some streams with him as well. So he's pretty awesome. I would actually, I have not asked him this yet, but I would love to have him pop in on this week, some week, just to do a little segment or something. I have to throw that at him still, but that would be very, very cool. Vic says Buffett could pass any time with all that Coke. Okay. I think you're talking about Coca-Cola, because he's a big investor in Coca-Cola. JJ, I feel you, Chad. I started do-it-yourself investing since 2 years ago and had been steadily increasing my annual contribution to investments. Passive reported that I put away just shy of 60K this year. Wow, that is not bad. And Passive is another company I like. Well, it's a website, but I do like Passive. They do have some really good reporting tools, especially around dividends. All right, Larry says, Vic, I planned on going to the next Berkshire and Daily Journal meeting. Now that he's gone, I'm using his discipline Monish Pabre to teach me. He turned 1 million into 700 good friends with Buffett Munger. Yeah, hey, not bad. Richard says, Canadian and T-shirt taught me how to convert Canada to US in my cash account and avoid the exchange rates. I enjoy watching him. Yeah, absolutely. And that's that Norbit Gambit I was talking about. So Vic says, glad you all are investing. I'm actually brutal at picking winners from 2024 forward. Indexes for me. Yes, you mentioned that the other day. And there's nothing wrong with going with indexes, because then you got managers of those indexes doing the work for you. Yashir is great for investing on YouTube. Nice. I don't know if I've watched Yashir. Let's see. Index a safer route, I think, says Chad. Larry, don't you own Berkshire A to get an invite to Omaha? And Chad says, nice, JJ. I would like to retire at 65. No, nothing wrong with that. JJ says, that's the goal. Mine would be to achieve financial freedom in my early 40s. Oh, there you go. There you go. That'd be kind of cool. Skiz says, oh, well, Buffett on cocaine. What a thought. Yeah, that would be funny. Tim said, if Warren Buffett can live in a small house in Nebraska, I can live in a rental suite in BC and keep investing. Nice. Looking for a sugar daddy, JJ. Chad. Okay. Let's go here. Vic. See, Buffett has a Nebraska house and one in Southern California and a jet. And Chad says, for tax loss harvesting, for tax loss harvesting, that only apply to personal accounts or all accounts. Just personal accounts. Anything that is registered, you're not paying taxes, so you don't need to do any kind of tax loss harvesting on them. You can rebalance, like your TFSA, but that doesn't give you any kind of tax benefit. JJ says, I mean, OnlyFans for days. Okay. We got V in the house saying Freedom 55 is like a fairy tale now. It's not an easy thing. When even the FIRE movement, you have to have the money to invest. And with things getting more and more expensive, it does get more difficult. Absolutely. Dead on the mark, V. You're dead on the mark for sure. OnlyFans. Okay. All right. Before we get to the next one, let's pull up number 5. And let's see here. What do we have for story number 5? Oh, it's the return of Bitcoin. So yeah, Bitcoin was on a tear in 2024. And to be honest, I'm talking about Bitcoin, but the rest of crypto did really well as well. So in terms of Bitcoin, Bitcoin began the year 2023 at $16,496 US. And they ended the year at 42,622 US. So that there is a return on investment of 158.38%. That is absolutely crazy, but that's what's happened. And here's the funny thing. All of these things that are going to pump Bitcoin in 2024, well, they haven't happened yet. So that's going to be really, really interesting. Bitcoin has a huge possibility of doing even better than 158% in 2024. This could be a very crazy year for Bitcoin. We have to watch. But yeah, this is just sort of crazy. And it's kind of that whole thing. So when the high tide comes in, the high tide being Bitcoin, all the boats in the harbor rise. So this has had knock-on effects for everything from like Cardano, Polkadot, Ethereum. There's been a lot of coins that have gone up and have been absolutely crazy. And it was crazy enough to hit number 5 as our top story. Next year, it could be number 1. We'll have to sort of see, because we'll do this again next year, by the way. I mean, we're not going to only do it this year. We'll do this again, because I think this is hilariously fun. Tim says, any PPC, Ian, or Foundation fans out there, I credit them with really getting me started. Before Ian, I was just randomly buying and selling stocks with no particular plan and was losing money. Yeah, and that's one of those things is that you do need a plan when it comes to investing. And a lot of times, where people go wrong is they move things too much. So I talk about rebalancing. Rebalancing is cool, but there's a time and a place for it. You don't want to be doing it all the time. The more you meddle with your stocks, usually the more money that you lose. So the potential drops because you end up getting to that point where you're like something goes down a little bit and you're like, oh, I guess I made a mistake on this one. I need to get out. And you get out and then it goes up. It always does. If you get out of something because you think you made a mistake because you're giving into that fear, uncertainty, and doubt, it invariably will go right up right after that. So, you have to kind of pay attention and see what's happening. But leaving something alone is good. It's kind of like, so with the challenge I'm doing right now, the 0 to 100K, we're dropping 500 in a month, but we have not been selling anything. Eventually we will do a rebalance and it'll probably be one of the episodes where we do some rebalancing. But for now, I just, when things go down, I will sit on them. Sometimes too, you may not realize why they're going down. So I'll give you an example. So one of the stocks that I bought last time around for this one is down about 18%. And when you look at it, you're thinking, oh my God, that's a really big amount. But here's the thing. It was in the energy sector. So the energy sector did come down a bit. So I'm like, okay, that contributed to it. It also had a pretty big dividend. And its ex-dividend date was, late December. And I'm like, oh, okay, that also contributed a big to why it's down right now when I'm, pulling all my data. So a lot of times you have to sort of think when something's down, well, why is it down? And the reason it's down because of the ex-dividend date is if you have a large dividend, when your ex-dividend date hits, that's basically the date where you've committed that dividend to being paid out, even though it's not the payment date yet. But the amount that you're paying out is being deducted from your market cap. So that pulls your value down. So that's one of the reasons why, if you just look at almost any stock with a good dividend, you'll see they drop on ex-dividend day, almost like clockwork. There's a couple of exceptions. One was actually YTSL at one point. So that was the Purpose Tesla yield one. And it had an ex-dividend date and it had a huge dividend. So it should have dropped. But the night before the ex-dividend date, Tesla had their earnings call right after market. And it was probably one of the last good earnings calls that Tesla had. And there was so much upward momentum that even though it should have fell, it then shot up. But that was one of those few rare exceptions to that rule. Vic says, London Life used to have these Freedom 55 comer back in the day. Sammer, hello all. Did Skiz win? No, Skiz has not won. Skiz just, I don't know why Skiz has not won. It boggles my mind. Chad says, whatever pays the bills, JJ, but a fool and their money soon depart. Absolutely. Secure the dough. That's a good tag. PPC, good platform, but Maximum never ran yet always asks for donations. Wow. Vic says, we'll pick up BTC at the next drop. Refuse to shake my phone daily. Yeah, I understand that. Well, it makes sense. Sometimes too, I mean, here's the problem. Like if you do your taxes, so if you do your taxes with Wealth Simple, they have a little, I think, is it Coinly? I think it's Coinly that they're associated with. But if you have ShakePay and you're shaking every day, it creates so many extra little transactions that you then have to pay for the paid version of Conley because it's like, oh, you got way too many transactions for the free version. So it can actually cost you some money when if you're using that to do it. I mean, some people might do it all themselves, but that's a real pain to do that because all of those transactions do count when it comes to tax time. All right. And Larry says Berkshire BS get invites, but they got to sit in the back. Oh, Berkshire Bees, not BS. Okay. Berkshire Bees. I got it. Whoa. Vic, I have some BRK.B shares, but never got any email invite. Picked up B shares in pandemic and up 100%. Yeah, absolutely. They're doing really, really good. Skiz says, I think in the new year, I'm going to take 20K and try some income investing and see how it goes by 2025. Okay. So by income investing, are you thinking of, just your passive income investing, try to beef up that income coming in from dividends? Chad says VDY Skiz pays a monthly dividend. Yeah, absolutely. Vic says follow Alberta's Greg Abel will run Berkshire. Oh, okay. That's right. You mentioned that before, Vic. Skiz, what you buying? Chad says January 10th spot ETF supposed to be out. Anyone seeing commercials yet? No, but I'll tell you, that could be very, very, very interesting. And Robert says, yay, I want a channel membership. Thank you. Sorry, Skiz. JJ says, yeah, Skiz, which income funds are you eyeing? And congratulations, Robert. I just want to make sure, just we have this running gag about poor Skiz. So, but yeah, no, it was awesome. Vic says, wasn't there some scan app that paid you for walking every day? That almost sounds familiar, Vic. I'm not sure, but it wouldn't surprise me. They scam you out of what are they scamming you out of though? I mean, if it's just making you, well, other than if they don't pay you, at least you get paid with getting a little bit healthier. Let's see, Vic, you talking about Sweat Coin? I still have it installed on my phone. Is that what it's called? Sweat Coin? Holy cow! All right, let's go to number 4. Let's see what number 4 has for us. Here we go. Number 4, carbon taxes and climate. Oh dear, that's a can of worms, isn't it? So yeah, carbon taxes, of course, were a huge driving news story in this year. Of course, the big thing was in July when they added taxes to the fuel regulations. So this was basically forcing producers to buy more carbon tax credits. Otherwise, they would be paying more for what they were pumping out. And that, of course, even though the government said, oh, that shouldn't affect you at the pump. Of course, it always affects you at the pump. Then, of course, there was also that home heating debacle, if you guys remember, where the government came out and said, oh, we're going to give a break to people using oil to heat their homes. We'll cut the carbon tax on that. But everybody else, if you're using natural gas, which a lot of people in the West, most of Canada, I think most of Canada uses natural gas probably. You guys weren't getting a break at all. So it was helping out people in the Maritimes, but that, it's kind of one of those things. I know the Conservatives had put through a private members bill to try to fix it, and the NDP actually backed them on it, but the Bloc came in and helped the Liberals keep that bill from getting through. So it's going to be interesting. Carbon tax, I think it'll still be a running point next year. And I see the carbon tax bills and the whole idea of carbon tax and climate. I think that's going to play a huge role in the next election. So it was enough to come in at number 4. So there we go. We got 3 more stories left. And we're still going to, keep in mind, we're still going to look at my predictions for 2023 and see what I got right, what I got wrong. And we're going to rank all of that. So that's going to be fun. Okay, let's get caught up here. Where was I at? Let's see here. There we are. Vic says, we could all leave the live stream except Skiz and he still wouldn't win. Well, no, I have seen it give the, I've seen YouTube pick somebody who wasn't here over people that are here. So it's kind of one of these things. I mean, here's the thing. We got almost 3,000 subscribers. So we would almost have to buy 3,000 memberships to 100% get Skiz. He's just not having any good luck. I don't know what it was. Chad was saying, I was thinking the same thing. Vic says you had to pay a bit, but if you keep walking daily, rewarded and could make money. But if you didn't, you lose. Oh, so if you stop walking, they take money from you. This is starting to sound like a Stephen King novel. He had this one novel where I think it was a game show where everybody had to run. And if you stopped running for any reason, though, they didn't take money from you. They took your life from you. But um, I actually heard they're making it into a movie, so it's kind of like Squid Game on steroids. But we'll have to we'll have to see when that eventually comes out. Prairie says all too true at this point. Another government scam. Yes, yes. There's definitely a lot. Government will do anything they can to take. And here's the thing. I mean, with carbon tax, it's not that it's. I would like to see how it's used. I would like to see that it is actually improving the situation with the planet. But at the same time, I think we also have to be sort of conscientious, because when we had a situation where we had rate hikes going up, people not being able to afford to put food on their tables, that may not be the best time to be hiking taxes. But I'm not a politician. I'm gonna step back from that for the moment, because that's not technically my wheelhouse. But yeah, I can definitely understand that. Now let's see here. Thoughts. I missed this here. Thoughts on bank stocks. BNS a buy with the new CEO from Caterpillar, TD Royal Bank, EQB, yeah, or just DCA into VDY. Well, I mean, if you DCA into VDY, you don't have to worry too much about it. But I do think right now, I think bank wise, if you're a fan of a bank, and this is one where you could pretty much take all 6 banks and throw. And not even just take the 6 banks. You could throw in some of the smaller banks too, like Canadian Western Bank, EQB. You could throw a dart at them, and you're going to make money, because we're at a point where the rate hikes aren't going. The rate hikes are done, so we're not going to see another rate hike. Even though the Bank of Canada likes to keep their language and their verbiage to make it seem like it's still on the table, it's really not. They have enough money put aside for the losses that are coming their way when it comes to the housing market and mortgages. And if we get some rate cuts, so let's say we got the 3 rate cuts that most people are predicting towards the end of this year, that's going to help some people. It's not going to help everybody. There are people out there, make no mistake, that are absolutely screwed. And when their mortgages come up for renewal, they're in trouble. There's no way ands, ifs about it. But bank wise, I think the banks are going to be there, and they're gonna start to do a little bit better. I'm pretty confident. I think the end of 2024 into 2025, I think we're going to see improvement in the banks. Everything else may move a little bit faster, because the banks are still dealing with the losses, but they have been preparing for it. So think of it this way: when the market knows something bad's going to happen, it gets priced into the market. Well, the banks know something bad's about to happen with mortgages, and they've got that priced in. So I think they're ready for it. Richard says, crypto enthusiasts noted the irony of JP Morgan being named in spot Bitcoin ETF applications. I know. And yeah, see here, MC won the last stream, and she wasn't even here. I believe MC, by the way, I think MC lives in Montreal, or at least I know she's in Quebec. But it could be Montreal. So there's a lot of people from Montreal here. If we do meet up someday, we'll have to do it in Montreal from the sounds of it. Vic says, I thought CSU was expensive at $2,700. Now at $3,300. It's just going up and up. Yeah, Constellation Software has been, they've been on fire. They've been huge in Canada's tech sector. Another one and this one here, it's one of these ones that I would love to see them do a stock split, just to sort of bring these prices down a little bit, but I don't know if they'll do it. That they're kind of like, I don't think they care. Their price is going up. They've got so much momentum on their side. Fire Capitalism says, wow, this is a new person. I've never seen you before, Fire Capitalism. Welcome to the stream. Do you think there would be a significant pullback in crypto in the near future? There's going to be pullbacks. Absolutely. I think overall, once we get to the halvening, once we get that spot Bitcoin ETF, there's not going to be a lot of pullbacks. It's going to be, I think, pretty steady. But here's the thing: That's only going to go. It's only going to go so long. We have to have pullbacks. Pullbacks are absolutely healthy. So I'm seeing a pullback towards the end of the year, like maybe even early 2025, sort of for crypto to catch its breath, and we'll sort of see how things are going. But here's the thing: I've put, I have added a crypto or a Bitcoin ETF to the 0 to 100. My goal with that ETF is to ride it up. And once it looks like we're starting to get closer to that peak, I have no problem getting out of that one. I'm using it just as a way to sort of pump up some money on the way. But it's going to be very interesting. Let's just say that. I think crypto will be very interesting in 2024. Chad says, Vic, Gil, yeah, overpriced their pre-ration pretty high. Let's see. Skiz says, to answer your question, the income portfolio currently is going to be bank, BKCL, DGS, and ENCL. Chad says buy OTEX. Yes, OTEX has been doing really, really, really well. So OpenText, they have been just kicking it. They had a fantastic November. Their December was pretty darn good too. So I actually, and it's funny, I added OTEX to the 0 to 100 challenge, and it's been making me proud. It has absolutely making me proud. Vic says, wasn't Ethereum supposed to be Bitcoin 2.0? Not per se. Ethereum was more of a different kind of coin. See, because Ethereum with their smart contracts was sort of had a whole different function. But yeah, in a way 2.0, but not. It's hard to explain because there's a few different coins out there, and there's also some splits from Bitcoin as well. But yeah, Ethereum was supposed to be the end all be all, but the thing is with Ethereum, you don't have that limitation. So Ethereum, like with Bitcoin, you're limited at 21 million coins. Ethereum doesn't have that. But Ethereum does have a lot of uses. But now a lot of people are also starting to look at Solana as being another option to do that, a sort of a cheaper option, because where Ethereum, just talk about gas fees when you're talking about Ethereum, it can get very, very expensive. Larry says, German company Siemens controls the registry for the carbon tax with their program. One of the reason we are in them. Okay. Vic has, I got bank and BKCL. ETH gas fee to high, but it will climb. All right, there we go. If you were I'm gonna assume this is a politician, or is it a lollipetition? Is that somebody who's like politically into lollipops? No, politician. So if you were a politician, Candace, I wouldn't think this highly about you. You seem like a beautiful, honest soul. I wouldn't think this highly about you. Okay. There's a reason I wouldn't be a politician. Nobody would vote me because I would tell the truth. And a lot of time voters don't want to hear the truth. They want to hear the empty promises. Or they, look at it this way. If I was in a press conference and somebody asks me a direct question, I'm going to give them the answer. I could never do what politicians today do, where they don't even answer the question they're being asked and they just, go off and spiel some party line. I could never do that. I mean, if I ever did run, I would have to run as an independent, which kind of puts you behind the 8 ball right there. But no, I would be honest. I would be very honest. I think if I was in a political field, and honest people don't survive in politics, unfortunately. JJ Skiz, that's why I hold except DGS. I don't really play with the high risk split A shares. That's fair enough. Got a risk to make the tendies, is Skiz's response to that. Vic says, I broke up my love affair with DFN. Yeah, DFN had a lot of problems as we moved into the bear market. So, and Chad sold all my DFN. I divorced DFN. I held DFN, but once we started going into, once the market moved into bear, I got out, because I always find that split core, when times get tough, first of all, you're going to see more return of capital than normal. But a lot of times they'll just cut their dividend, and it's just like, no, sorry, you don't get it this month. Or sometimes you might not get it for a couple of months. So yeah, split cores, I'll dabble with them a bit more when the markets are good. But I try to avoid them during rougher markets because I find them to be a little bit dicey. Let's see. JJ said also got ENS and RS from Middlefield as they are fairly stable. Yeah, when it comes to split core, ENS and RS, they're both much more stable than any of these ones like DFN and a lot of the Quadra Invest ones are just not the best. And let's see here. MC says, "Yep, re," and I'm in the same boat, Chad. I'm not sure what the re is. Kawachin says, "Is it a good time to buy DFN?" I would want to make sure that we're in a bull market first. I think things are going to be okay. I think we're going to have a flat market for the first half of the year, and then we're going to start going up. But I would want to wait till probably the middle of 2024 and see if things are start moving up. If you start to see a big market trend moving towards the upside, and heck, if you're hanging around here, I'll let you know when that happens. I think then it might be a time to grab some DFN. I mean, you can always DCA in now if you want to. Like, I don't think we're in a situation where you're going to see them cutting dividends. But I'm not looking forward to any kind of split cores, at least until at least the halfway through this year, at least. Typo, no problem. I have typos too. Let's see. Richard says, for Bitcoin pullbacks, big Bitcoin corrections came before halving in past cycles. That's a possibility, but if we get that spot Bitcoin ETF, if that does come out on January 10th, as some people seem to think, that will probably destroy any possibility of a pullback, I think, at that point. Or if there's a pullback, you just won't even see it. So I kind of one of these things, like the way I would look at it right now is if you're thinking of riding the halving and the spot Bitcoin ETF, then just start DCAing now if you haven't already started. And, if you see any small corrections along the way, don't worry about them. Just ride it out till we get to the other side. That's how I would handle it personally. Let's see. MC says, I'm in Laval. Also, right next to Montreal. That's pretty darn close. Okay. Let's see. Could be if you like playing with high-risk splits. So after the halving, let's see here. I bought into Take-Two Interactive, and as soon as GTA 6 drops in 2025, I'm dumping it. Okay. Sorry, I was away for a minute. Man-made climate change, real or fake? Go. Yeah, it's real. There's a lot of noise out there, but yeah, I mean, look at it's easy to look and see what we've done to the planet. Like, don't even look at climate change. Just look at pollution. Look at what we've done. I mean, when people say that man can't have such a large scale interaction, we can. Also, the other thing too is if you look at the pandemic, when everybody was in lockdown, a lot of the numbers all started improving pretty fast because we weren't out all driving around. So, yeah, I mean, man-made climate change, sure. I mean, but keep in mind too, climate change is a normal part. Like, the climate is always changing. But have we had an impact on it? Yeah, of course we have. Kawachin says, what are your thoughts on the housing market? Do you believe we will see a lot of downside? So when it comes to the houses, I think prices are going to start coming down a little bit. I don't think we're going to see a complete bubble burst. I'm more concerned when it comes to the housing market. I'm more concerned with what's going to happen as these mortgages start coming up. So the banks may be able to handle it, but we have a lot of people that aren't going to be able to handle it. And we have to sort of see what the banks are going to do if we're going to be looking at some absolutely crazy amortizations. But I would be more concerned about what's going to happen. And even if we get people start losing houses, that's a big concern too. Like, what's going to happen with that? What's going to happen with these people? How is it going to tax the system? So we have to sort of, I'm concerned about that. I'll leave it at that. Let's see, JJ, another great Montrealer. What's up? Yeah, absolutely. Chad says, yeah, I was thinking the same thing to Skiz. Capitalize on the hype. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Vic says, I don't collect comics, but do collect stocks. Wealthsimple makes it too easy to buy one share or fraction here there. I have my own Vic Gill 500. Awesome. There, you'll have to make your own little exchange or publish a list there, Vic. That would be kind of fun to look at. Chad says, yep, been a long time waiting. GTA 6 is going to be awesome. Let's see. Kawachin says, I keep buying BNS. Wealthsimple does make it super easy. They sure do. Yeah, Wealthsimple's a pretty easy platform to use. Absolutely. Prairie says, do you think OTEX will continue to go up from here, or may it pull back this spring before interest cuts? I think OTEX is. I think they've got some momentum. Will we see probably a pullback? Yeah, we'll probably see some pullbacks, but I wouldn't even say a pullback. I would say corrections, just a couple little corrections, because corrections are very healthy. But right now, I'm still pretty bullish on OTEX. So we'll have to see how this is going to look, but I don't think you have too much to worry there on this. And it's kind of be one of the ways the momentum of the market is going to be moving as we move into the spring. I think we're going to see, we may see a little bit of pullback, but we're not going to see a lot. I think we're going to see more or less corrections. And I've kind of think of it this way. The spring, when I say flat, it's probably going to be flat, but slightly moving towards the upside, but not by a lot. So I think it's still gonna feel pretty flat. So there will be, when I say flat too, it's not just a straight line, right? There's going to be a little bit of peaks and valleys as we move forward. So you're going to get little corrections here and there along the way, but overall, still bullish on OTEX. Let's see. Dave says layer 2 seem to be doing better in crypto right now. Yeah. I know it's actually interesting. Like I just brought out on our last market close, the heat map for crypto. Now, of course, it did look pretty red that day because, crypto was having a little bit of but some layer 2s are definitely doing better. And once Bitcoin explodes, there's just going to be so many things exploding, I think, because a lot of times the way it works in crypto is the money piles into Bitcoin, and then it starts to move and filter into the others. But I think right now, a lot of the others have such a great fan base. People are starting to buy again. And some people are looking at Bitcoin thinking, well, okay, it's so expensive. Like, look at, maybe this year I could have made 158% on it. But look at these smaller coins. I got a potential to make even more. But here's the thing. You're trading risk, right? Bitcoin is a safer bet than going for some of the smaller coins. So there is a little bit of risk in there. But if you do your due diligence and you know what you're doing, you can certainly make some big paydays. Let's see. Kawachin says BNS, NA, EQB, and GSY for the win. There we go. That EQB, I do love EQB, by the way. The recent fundamental deep dive I did on them was, they were just great. You are beautiful. Oh, thank you. Chat says, Cow, what? But BNS don't make profits the last 15 years. They're stock down. It's a dividend trap. I think we're in a situation, though, if they're all going to come up. I mean, they all went down. They are going to come up. So there is money to make there. But yeah, sometimes you see the high dividend. It can be alluring, that's for sure. Mario says, Candace, let's see, you can make Canada great again. Okay. What would that be? MCGA? I don't even want to go there, but I think Canada at the core, I think Canada is great, nonetheless. Sure, we have a lot of political stuff that is just absolutely nuts, but at the core, I think Canadians, just everyday people like you guys are fantastic. And I think we're a good country, and I think we'll be good again. Kawachin says, I love the run up on Propel Holdings. So PRL.V. Yes. Chad says, LOL. OTEX go up, up, up. It has been doing well. Vic says, I can get my Canadian tech fix via XIT. Yes, you can. Mario says, no more split funds for me anymore. You know what? That's not a bad choice. Vic says, I have QQQY and JEPY. And Chad says, once the US feds start the money printers, cryptocurrency will boom. Yeah, and keep in mind, 2024 is an interesting year. So here's what's interesting about 2024. We've got a leap year. So we got February 29th coming up. We have Summer Olympics in Paris. We've got a U.S. federal election, which is definitely going to be no matter what happens in the U.S., I have a feeling it will at least be amusing to watch at the very least. We got the Bitcoin halvening. We got a spot Bitcoining. Oh my God, there's just so many. 2024 is going to be just a crazy year. Yeah, absolutely crazy. Larry says this week the USA will hit 34 trillion in debt. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. There's really nothing you can do, but I think the US is at a point that they kind of accept that their debt is going to just keep on ballooning. And people have been afraid of it for forever. A lot of times, and I hear this is a familiar story in investing. It's like, oh, the U.S. debt's going to hit this much. It's going to hit this much. It's going to crash everything down, but it never does. It just keeps on getting bigger. And I think it's kind of one of these things where so much of the world uses U.S. dollars that it's almost fail-proof. And I know there's a lot of fear mongering out there saying about it's all ready to collapse, but we're nowhere near that point where that's going to happen. So I think you're safe. I think you're safe, folks. Vic says, unlike the USA, we can't live by spending $1.20 for every dollar I make. Okay, fair enough. Let's see. Lavelle, $4.50. Solana got bonk up 1,300%. Yeah, there you go. So, and Solana is one of those coins that when it comes to altcoins, they're a little bit less risky. I kind of wish I had, piled a bunch of money into Solana at the beginning of the year. That would have been a sweet payday. Richard says, I heard when Bitcoin goes up, the other cryptos go up as well. I've been hearing about Solana a lot lately. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, when Bitcoin goes up, the others follow along. Candace says, crypto count as tax loss harvesting? Well, yes, they do. Because when you are, so with crypto, you don't hold it. It's not held in a registered account. So you're dealing with capital gains, capital losses, unless you're selling and moving really fast, then it becomes business income as well. But yeah, if you sell something at a loss, you can use that loss and leverage it against something you sold at a gain so that you're paying less taxes. So yes, you can do tax loss harvesting on your crypto. All right, here we go. Yeah, and can stake it on Coinbase or Wealthsimple. Yes, you can. 115. Candace, take a sip of water. I don't have water, but I do have coffee for you, Vic. And that's why I made sure I had coffee, because I'm going to be talking a lot. Like, we're hour 23 in, and I'm not even through the top 8 yet. So holy banana bread. And we've still got the other content too. So are we going to filibuster till 2024? I don't think I'm going to last that long, but we will have a countdown. It's midnight somewhere. So we will have a countdown before we go. Did she just say Bitcoin? Maybe. That's a new cryptocurrency. It's a little bit cellulose, a little bit Bitcoin, maybe. I don't know. Country Auto Garage. Bitcoin is the next big thing I hear. That's funny. Let's see. Vic says, I bought some MSTR at $148 and sold for $572. but had bought it at highs. Happy to exit with just a few bucks profit. Understandable. Yeah, I mean, that stock has pretty much followed the price of Bitcoin. They have so much Bitcoin on their balance sheet that and MSTR, by the way, it's MicroStrategy, just in case somebody doesn't recognize the abbreviation. Candace, what's your favorite fast food outlet in Canada? Go. Firehouse Subs. I really enjoy Firehouse Subs. I usually get a veggie. So it's a whole pile of great veggies. Chad says, good score. Trump doesn't like Trudeau. Most don't. Even his wife don't like him. Fair enough. Fair enough. They definitely have a little bit of issues. Country Auto Garage. Chad, no, you can't sell crypto at a loss and claim it as a tax loss. No, you can. You can, but you have to apply it against other crypto. Or you can use it against stocks as well, but it has to stay in that same boat. So, for example, if it is as capital gain and capital losses, you can only apply it against other capital gains and other capital losses. So if you have taxes, regular taxes, so from income, you can't apply it against that. So that's kind of, and I think that's where Country Auto Garage was going. You have to, so a capital loss can only be applied against a capital gain. An income loss can only be applied against an income gain. So, you know, it's kind of works, it's kind of inclusive that way, or exclusive, if you want to call it that. Kawachin says, BNS does have high dividend. Hopefully they can turn the South America bit around. That would be cool. At Country, thanks, wasn't sure. Sorry, I was wrong. No, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Last time I looked, it was no go, but the laws have been updated, so it seems. Okay. Oh, yeah. And I think there's going to be, as Bitcoin gets more and more prevalent, we're probably going to see a lot of these laws updated, because some of them you got to dig pretty deep to figure things out. I know when I started digging into some of the crypto laws, I swear it took like 5 hours to get a good story on what was going on. Dave T says Bitcoin to the moon. Oh my gosh. Let's see, Candace, do you have a favorite band song? Kevin O'Leary plays music. It's okay to invest and like music. No, I absolutely have favorite band songs. There's a lot of things that I love. So one of my favorite bands is an old band by the name of Queen. I'm sure some of you have heard it. What would be my favorite? Probably Bohemian Rhapsody. I mean, it's just such a classic and such a weird song. But at the same time, there's a lot of other things. Like I love Canadian, some of the older Canadian stuff. Like I love Canadian 80s music. Everything from Platinum Blonde to Gowan, Corey Hart, you name it. That stuff is just fantastic in my books. Chad says, Bitcoin popping right now. That is awesome. Glenna says, Candace, what's your favorite Bitcoin ETF? Right now, the one that I'm using for the challenge, because I'm giving away stuff that you guys will find out in the videos that drop. But I'm looking at BTCY. It's the purpose high yield one. They do use covered calls on it, so it does limit the upside a little bit. But while I'm waiting for this explosion, I'm getting, almost a 10% dividend on it. So that's not a bad thing. Now, I may, as we get closer, I may also add a non-yield version, just so that I can get the upside from that. But we'll have to take a look and see. And yeah, here's Chad saying the same thing. BTCY. Kawachin says, any Canadian stocks that have a high dividend CAGR and 3.5% yield will be getting lots of love from me. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. BTCC is another good one. And BTCC.B from Sammer. That's I believe that's the unhedged version. Vic says, tragically hip, Tom Cochrane, and many other Canadians. Larry Gowan. I saw Larry Gowan in concert. I'll tell you. Back in the day, Larry Gowan, he held an incredible concert because he had the piano and he used to jump over the piano and leap on the piano and sing on top of the piano and play the piano. But yeah, Gowan was just absolutely crazy. And here's a funny thing. So the place I was staying at, so hi, thank you, Siri. The place I was staying at that time, um, we had a boarder, and the boarder came in, and his name was Larry, and he looked like Gowan. And it turned out he was a criminal, so we eventually got rid of him. But anytime he used to walk into the room, we used to sort of hum "Criminal Mind" as he entered. But it was kind of funny. Um, Tim says, "I think you should open every video with Lisa Lohi run with us." Um, it would be great to do that, other than the fact that copyright gets in the way. So I use like the little song thingy I have on the beginning. It's just a little clip from a song that is 100% copyright free. So that's one of the reasons I use it. But it might be time to change the song. It might be. I don't know. Chad says they don't pay a dividend, BTCC. Yeah, that's because it's a straight up. So, but here's the thing. Because the ones that pay a dividend using covered calls means that when things go to the moon, you might only make it 75% to the moon because it caps the upside a little bit because of the way the options are written. Whereas something like BTCC, you'll be scraping moon dust off of your pants as you're counting your money. So it's a little bit different. And yes, I do have a Freddie Mercury pop. 80s Canadian content. I love Gowan. Yeah, Gowan was awesome. Now, Gowan, for those of you who lost track of Gowan, he's now the lead singer of Styx. So that's that song, that group that had the song Mr. Roboto. So, but yeah, Gowan is now their lead singer. No dividend in BTCC. Yeah, exactly. Tom Cochran is from Manitoba. Wow. I guess that's where the highway is. That is life. So life is a highway. Is this the Bitcoin? Is this the Bitcoin? Is this just fantasy? Yeah, there we go. Oh dear. Hopefully I don't get copyright hit for just using that melody for that, but I had to do it. Talking about the Bitcoin ETF. I caught in a cornfield. That's fantastic. Candace, what is the story behind your tattoos? Lots of different stories. This one here, right here, it's hard to tell, but it's actually DNA made out of stars. It's all color coded, base pairs, and everything else. This one over here, the rose, it was done by a guy who was who was part of the Chicago Ink crew. Well, just happened to, run into him, and I wanted something interesting. I've also got a vampire vampire mermaid on my leg. Yeah, so I don't know. It's just one of these things. I have this thing. Any tattoo I get has to be colorful, but I'm pretty much beyond. I think I'm past my due now. I think I've had my last tattoo probably. But yeah. Anyway, there's not like any amazing. It's not like I was like kidnapped by foreign operatives and forced to get colorful tattoos. Yeah, nothing like that. Oh dear God, I read the next comment. Vic says Mountain Finance needs a theme song. Maybe that's not. I'll think about that one, Vic. Chad says, but keep in mind, USA holds more BTC than Michael Saylor. Yeah, absolutely. Brian Adams came from the Ottawa area. Actually, I believe Brian Adams was born in Kingston, Ontario. So, and that's not that far from Ottawa. So it's kind of one of them interesting things. Summer of '69. Yep. Northern Pikes. Yes, they had She Ain't Pretty, I think it was. That was that song. So yeah, Northern Pikes, pretty darn awesome. Matthew Good. There we go. See, look at this. We're just hitting up the good old 80s songs. Now there's probably like somebody really young here who's going, What the hell? What's the 80s? I don't know. I don't know that stuff. And that's okay. It's okay. Actually, the 80s, a lot of, I don't know. I think younger people now are actually starting to discover the 80s and go, "Ooh, these are pretty darn cool." All right, let's look at number 3. I said when we get caught up, we will do it. So number 3. Wow, yeah, those U.S. bank. Whoops, there we go. The U.S. bank collapses was huge. So this all began back in March, and that was when Silicon Valley Bank was the first to have some issues. So the government actually seized control of it because there was a bank run. And who would have thought you'd see a bank run nowadays? But they had a bank run of $40 billion. And this was customers that were just spooked by the fact that the bank was trying to shore up its finances because they were worried about a bank run. And then, of course, that became true. And they also had their Moody's had also downgraded, I think, their bond rating as well. So that caused a huge bunch of issues. Now, of course, that was the first domino. Soon after that, we ran into Signature Bank in New York. The regulators ended up shutting that down. And then there was just so much fear on the market with people worried about, how many banks. And the thing is, these were all regional banks. So they were smaller banks. So the bigger banks were fine. And, this actually eventually filtered over to even all the stuff with Credit Suisse and UBS. That it just all boiled over. So that was a huge, huge story. That it was big enough to be our number 3 story. So let's, oh gosh, more 80s stuff. This is all I'm seeing. Okay. Honeymoon Suite, very underrated. They had some really good songs. Absolutely. So I can still remember their album cover. They had they had a heart-shaped bed with a bunch of nails on it, if I remember correctly. Loverboy, working for the weekend. Yep. that was kind of good. Yeah, everybody's working for the eater. Trooper. Trooper, I think my mom listened to Trooper, but I don't actually know their music very well, but yeah, why not? Dave wants Vic to let your backbone slide. Yeah, absolutely. Wow, this 2024 enough with the 1980s. Why not? Why not? Country Auto Garage has made 38% return on SCHW thanks to Bank Run Fear. Thank you, MSM. Yeah, you know what? There's nothing wrong with that, right? Whoops. Sorry, we'll get to you in a sec in Vancouver. Vic says Oatfield, UK, but what a hit. Jesse's Gone Away. Come around and talk it over. Rush, yeah. I mean, nobody can deny the distinctiveness of Geddy Lee's vocals, for sure. Kawachin says Chris Buck Band. I'm not familiar with them, but if they're 80s, they have to be pretty good. Excuse me. Tim says, I met Melissa off Dow Dermar and got her autograph when she was in Smashing Pumpkins. Any Pumpkins fans? I flew to Ottawa for the first time in September to see them. Awesome. Awesome. A Prairie Investor. Love me some ABBA, Chicago, and Bee Gees. Yeah. See, Chicago has a huge Canadian connection. One of the big producers who was associated with Chicago was David Foster, who was out of Canada. So, yeah, huge. Richard says, Country Auto Garage. Yeah. And, here we go. Kenny Rogers, Dolly. Haha. It's funny. Back in my high school days, I used to work in a drugstore. And at Christmas time, we only had one Christmas album. And it was Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton. And they played it over and over. I mean, big time. And, like that song, I'll Be Home with Bells On. It's like I cringe still to this day when I hear that. Oh, there we go. So the Chris Bucks Band is up and coming. Country music. Okay. And Skiz is like, you guys are all old. That might be it. That's it, Skiz. You're too young to win. That might be what it is. Tim says a Canadian wrote the theme song for the Charlie Brown Peanuts TV specials. Oh, that's kind of cool. Tate McRae. All our backbone slides, Skiz. Torture. Torture. Are we talking about the song by the Jackson 5? Just a thought. Platinum Blonde. They had a lot of energy, Platinum Blonde. Like what is it? Not in Love, Standing in the Dark. Definitely some good songs. JJ says, I feel so out of place with these ancient topics. Oh no. Oh no, JJ. I feel bad. I feel bad. Vancouver says, islands in the stream. Oh dear. Let's get to number 2. Let's get to number 2 so that way there JJ can have a topic that's more relevant. All right, number 2, the AI tech boost. There we go. AI tech boost. Yeah, let's just pull this. There we go. So AI absolutely exploded in 2023. Everything from Chat GPT and other forms of generative AI basically inspired massive investment within the technology sector. And those of you who mentioned earlier about the NASDAQ going absolutely crazy in the beginning of the year, well, it was all powered by the AI tech boost. So let's not forget from that. So everything from Microsoft, Alphabet, there was and then of course NVIDIA. If you think about NVIDIA, if you guys remember, NVIDIA absolutely exploded as they were providing a lot of the chips for for this boom. I think it's still ongoing. I know a lot of people are thinking, oh, it's a tech bubble, but I think it's going to go for a bit. I think, especially depending if we get if we get ChatGPT 5 in 2024, which a lot of people are thinking, that could be really interesting. I don't think AI is. I think it's only just beginning, to be honest. So, when I do my video on what sectors are going to be big, well, not just what sectors, but on my predictions for 2024. We will revisit this AI tech boom because I think it's going to play a role, and I think I'm going to make a ruling on it for 2024. And don't worry, we're still going to get to the 2023 stuff, so we have time. It's not like we're in a hurry. There we go. Coffee gets me all ready. Here we go. Oh, let's not forget Alanis. Although I think Alanis was in the 1990s, if I remember correctly. JJ, but my parents might vibe with these topics better than me. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I hope it carries over through 2024. I'm heavy in NVIDIA and HXQ. Yeah, I think you have, I think there's a good chance that we are going to see that carry over. Tim Smith says, I think AI is overrated. I still can't see how it's had any impact on anything other than funny tricks with images and music, etc. I think it's overrated. Oh, Tim, it's we're at the point right now, like what I use AI for personally is a couple things. So the thumbnail for this video, the picture of Father Time passing the hourglass down to the baby New Year. AI made that in 2 seconds. I just said, I need an image of Father Time passing a hourglass down to the baby New Year, and bang, done. So it's being able to use it as a tool. So one of the other areas is sometimes if I run into, let's say I pull up a giant, massive chunk of information and I just need the bullet points, I will just feed it into Chat GPT, for example, and said, give me the bullet points. And it will do that for me. So, it's a huge time saver, but you have to use it responsibly, right? If I were to just say, write my video, it's gonna be clunky. It's gonna not flow perfectly. But it is useful in, for example, if whatever reason I can't summarize a 2-page article down to a paragraph and I need it summarized, I can get AI to summarize it, and then I can read that over and then write my own version of it. So it has its uses. And it's only getting smarter. So once we get to a point where it can think a lot more on its own, it could get, some people think it's going to get scary, but it will be very interesting to see where it gets to. Skid says, all I've seen are chatbots and AI. When the real stuff hit, that gonna change the world. Yeah, I mean, right now, and here's the thing. A lot of times when you are talking, like almost most websites nowadays, if you pull up the chat function to talk to somebody to get some help, you're not talking to a real person. You're talking to an AI. AIs are they're getting everywhere. There's an AI radio. I think they were calling it Radio GPT, and I was listening to it, and I was just like amazed, like, even though everything was 100% AI created and it sounded pretty good. So, we're getting to the point that whether you're pro or not pro, whether you're for or against AI, it's coming and it's only going to get better. And eventually, we'll just all have to sort of find a way to, accept AI in our lives one way or another. Richard says AI chips and the China ban. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, the whole China ban thing, though, I mean, that all rolls into that. I mean, the U.S. wants less chips from China, which means more money is being pushed into a lot of the chipmunks, a lot of the chip makers in the U.S. You guys can run with the chipmunk comment if you want. A lot of the chip makers in the U.S. They're running with it, and a lot of these chipmunks again. A lot of these chip makers are getting things like lithium from Canada. So there's a lot of winners. There is a lot of winners, and the U.S. government put some money into helping Canada, do some of our own mining and stuff for some of these rare elements. So nothing wrong with that. Kawachin says, I consider myself young and love the music mentioned. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. And that's the thing. I mean, I'll listen to stuff from the 80s, the 90s, 2000s, and, new stuff. And sometimes it's a marriage of the two. Like, I know about 2 years ago, I stumbled upon Disturbed's version of The Sound of Silence. And I was like, oh, this is a heavy metal band doing The Sound of Silence. And The Sound of Silence is like, that's like way outside of my normal realm. I like the song, but it's really old. It's like more of a parent song. But I listened to it and it was fantastic. I was like, holy cow. India for sure. Yeah, India is going to be huge. There's no way around it. Let's see. ZID. Candace, age. I'll guess 42. 42 is the answer to the life, the universe, and everything. Check out the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Chad is pro-India. And XID. Vic says that like why BlackBerry didn't understand iPhone. Yeah, I mean, BlackBerry is kind of the whole collapse of BlackBerry to me is just absolutely. I think that they weren't adaptable enough to the changes that were coming, and Apple came out with a product that was just so easy. If you come out with a product that's so easy look at it this way, the lowest common denominator to use, it's going to catch on. And that's kind of where iPhone, completely demolished the whole BlackBerry market, is the fact that easy product to use, BlackBerry, not so much. Now, I'll just put this out there. I mean, people who've been using BlackBerry forever probably will argue with me to the black and blue and say, oh my God, no, you're wrong. BlackBerries are easy to use. But, I'm talking about pick it up off the stand, be able to use it with almost no help. And that is exactly where iPhone has won in this case. All right. JJ says, I second Vic and say Candace isn't older than 45. Okay. Now I've gone from 42 to 45. By the end of this, I'm going to be 160. AI in the military, auto driving, warehouse robot, and manufacturing. AI will change everything. Yes, it will. Absolutely. Tim says if my job gets replaced by AI, at least I still have dividends. Absolutely. And that's where things like, as much as people talk about UBI, That's where UBI will come in. Eventually, we get to a point where once AI is good, is smart enough to take over pretty much everything, we're all going to have a lot of extra time on our hands, and we're probably going to have a UBI of some sort at that point. We're not there yet. Okay, JJ says, at least I'll say that AI isn't replacing benchtop scientists anytime soon. No, but AI can be a huge tool. So, for example, look at something like quantum mechanics. So, quantum mechanics is one of these things that we don't understand it. Like, nobody really understands it. We know what it does. We can predict what it does. So, for example, when you take something as simple as the two-slit experiment. So, in a nutshell, if we shoot electrons through these two slits and we're watching them, they're going to go through either slit A or slit B, and you'll see lines showing the slits that they went on the back wall. But if we don't watch them and we fire these electrons at the two slits, well, they begin interfering with each other and they create a whole bunch of different patterns all on the back wall. And that's kind of odd. Now, some people say, is that, okay, well, how come watching them has any effect? Now, keep in mind, to watch them, we actually have to measure them. And the fact measuring seems to force them into a state, one state or another. So we understand that happens, but nobody truly understands why that happens. There's a lot of speculation, but here's where AI comes in. You can take AI and it can continually work on this problem until it figures something out. And if we get to a point where AI is more intelligent than a person, well, the theories that are going to start coming out are going to be fantastic. And then your top line scientists, they're going to be the ones who are actually proving, the things that AI are coming up with, proving them or disproving them. It'll be kind of interesting. So AI will become the hypothesis makers, and then scientists will carry out the work, and they'll figure out whether or not that is the case. But that's just me, and that's where I think it's going. I could be wrong, but that seems logical to me. Chad says, AI fighter pilots doing crazy stuff as a human can only take about 5 G-force. Yeah. Well, also, AI, they're probably going to be very, very dead on, too. Kawachin, are you in Kawachin? There we go. Interesting. Yes, that makes sense, actually. Ooh, love me some Simon and Garfunkel. Robert says, Tim Smith, companies are using AI to learn about you without you even knowing it. Now, that is true. That is true. Bridge over troubled finances. Awesome. Alan is in the house. Happy New Year, Candace. Catching the replay tonight. Absolutely. It could be a long replay because we're not even through the first top 8, and we're almost at 2 hours. So holy banana bread. This is a long one. This is probably the longest stream I'm going to do. Tim Smith says, I haven't done a 2-slit experiment since my honeymoon. Who is drinking tonight? I'm on my 3rd Angry Orchard. No, Tim, I don't want to know about your honeymoon. I don't want to know. Chad says, Robert, YouTube is owned by Google, so this is all an AI experiment. We're living in the Matrix. Holy banana bread, maybe. Chad says, rye bread and gingerbread. Oh, yum, yum. JJ says, 2-slit experiments, early college days, Schrodinger's cat. Yes, good old Schrodinger's cat. Okay, and this is more about where Cowichan lives. I don't give tech lessons anymore, though. It's an old handle. Okay. JJ says, I think you should be a great physicist or mathematician, Candace, in the second half of your career. Well, physics is just fun, doesn't everybody find black holes fun? Seriously, funny story. I do have another YouTube channel. I made a couple videos on it. I stuck with this one because this one takes up all my time, but I have a small little documentary on black holes I made. So I'm just going to put that out there. It does exist. Kawachin says, I need a new handle. And Richard's eating his mom's banana bread right now. Holy banana bread. All right. Well, now that I caught up, that means that we can actually get to number one. Number one. So the number one story, you guys should know what this is because I let you guys vote on it. Number one, the rising interest rates. That was, of course, the big story of the year. Rates were out of control. It was crazy. Um, so in Canada, and it's funny. When I was thinking about it, I'm like, how many times did we raise the rates in 2023? I was thinking, was it like 5 or 6 times? But we actually only raised the rates 3 times in 2023. So January, June, and July. And that brought our overnight rate all the way up to 5%. Now, we, of course, well, not we, but Tiff Macklin and the Bank of Canada, they talked a tough game all through the year, saying, "Yeah, we're gonna raise rates as we need to. We're gonna raise rates." So they talked a lot more about raising rates than what we actually saw, and they also talked a lot about inflation. So when inflation began in 2023, it came in January at 5.9%. Um, it fell until, oh gosh, pretty much until March, down to about 4.3%. And then we had a little bump. It went back up to 4.4%. And then, of course, Tiff Macklin's like, we may have to raise rates. Now, we did have 1 month of fantastic inflation, which was June. June, it got down to 2.8%, which is great. It then got but from the 2.8, it went back up to 3.3, then 4 in August. But since then, we've gotten it back down to 3.1. So we've had 3.1 the last couple of months. And hopefully, once we get our December numbers in January, I'm hoping to see like a 2.8 or a 3.0. That would be really, really, really cool. So we have to see how that is going to go. But yeah, that's the whole thing. Now, with 2024, we are looking at rate cuts. So I was going to say rent cuts, but no, rate cuts. We're looking at that. So I think that's going to be really, really cool. And I think the rising interest rates, obviously, they caused a lot of problems. Everything from a lot of the mortgage issues that are coming up, a lot of debt issues for people. It's crazy. But at least 2023 is now over. And that was the biggest driving force between the rising interest rates and inflation. Definitely the biggest driving force when it comes to stories in 2024. Or sorry, 2023. All right. Just give me a second here. I was like, where is that? Let's get rid of that now because we are now done with that part of the show. That part of the show is done. So let's, there we go. We'll get rid of that. We're going to move everything big screen again. Perfect. All right. We still have my predictions of 2023. Now, I didn't make any graphics for these ones. We'll just talk about them as we go. I've pre-scored them, but we'll adjust them if we have to as we go. So we'll see how that's going. But before we do any of the predictions for 2023, let's get caught up with the chat. Kawachin says, any stock recommendations that beat the market have a good divi yield and a cadger? There will be. That's early 2023. So January, my first list videos in January. I'm going to be looking for those bangers out there. We're going to look for the ones that are just looking like they're ready to explode. So look out for that. Skiz says, my portfolio is a black hole. Holy banana bread. It's like your finances get spaghettified. And JJ says, neat. What's the second channel? Give it a shout out for it. I have no idea what it was. It was called Size Seekers. So there's a few different little things on it. I made a couple. And then I realized that I just didn't have time because one of the science videos would take a crazy amount of time of editing, a crazy lot of back end work. And I was just like, you know what? If I continue this, I'm going to be taking away from the finance channel, and that's the main vein. So I sort of backed off. So I probably have, I think, 3 or 4 videos on it. Just give me a second here. I'll get you the link though. Give me a second and we'll find it. Boop-a-doo, bang. All right. Okay. It helps if I spell seekers right. Let's see here. Here we go. Yeah, it's like I said, it is a dinky channel. Like I think I've got like 10 subs on it, quite literally, because I didn't have a time. I just put a few videos up on it and never really got a chance to do anything with it. But there's the link if you want to check out. I think I have a video. One of my videos, which I really liked, is what would happen if a black hole, a rogue black hole, came into the solar system. So that one was my favorite. Ian says, I just got here, waiting for my flight in Toronto right now. Wow, awesome. Yeah, well, there's a lot of show that you missed, but you can always catch that on the replay tomorrow if you want to. But yeah, hopefully you don't have too long to wait for your flight, Ian. Richard says, do you think black holes will evaporate in the heat death of the universe? Well, black holes technically should evaporate if you, and this all has to do with something called Hawking radiation. So Stephen Hawking proposed that on the outside of the event horizon on a black hole, and this is a simplistic version of it, but you could have the spontaneous creation of matter and antimatter that normally pops up in the universe normally, and then they run into each other and annihilate each other. So you end up with net nothing. But at the event horizon, when these pop up together, and if an antimatter were to fall into the black hole, it would eventually annihilate something in the black hole. But at the same time, if that whole act gave enough escape velocity for the positive matter to escape, it would escape. The black hole will have been annihilated by the negative antimatter, and thus that black hole technically has got a tiny bit smaller. So if that was the only thing happening to that black hole, and over time, theoretically, the black hole could evaporate. But anyway, we totally got off on a tangent there, but I love it. Skiz says, does anyone believe that interest rate cause nothing I buy pay for can up by 3 to 5%, more like 15 to 20%? There's a lot of things though, right? So when you look at interest rates, yes, that's going to have some impact depending on how it's affecting stores. But the big thing is when you're looking at the things you're buying in the stores, you're dealing with inflation. You're dealing with some of the extra money people are paying for fuel to transport it there, your products. So, trucking's cost. So everything is costing more. It's costing more to move stuff to the stores. It's costing more for the employees to sell the stuff to you. So as a result, all of that stuff, it always gets passed on to the consumer. And that's what you're seeing. You're seeing an interesting wave, perfect storm of price increases in a way. Tim says, I think 2024 will be a hell on earth nightmare, but things will bounce back in 2025. By 2030, things will be great. Buy and hold, don't sell. Okay. And some people are of that negative opinion that 2024 will be absolutely fiery, not a good year. But I'm on that more optimistic side, I think, with 2024. I don't tend to I love fairmongering. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But I keep it realistic at the same time. Like I'd love to watch a movie about 2024 turning out to be hell on earth nightmare. But when it comes to my finances, when it comes to what I'm looking at realistically, I try to be as realistic as possible. Now, Chad says that the numbers are fudged. Maybe. Candace in the Cosmos. Yes, exactly. There's actually my background at some points is on me talking in space, so it's kind of like Candace in the Cosmos. My wish for 2024: a God candle. What is a God? Oh, okay. I think I know what you mean. So you're looking for a nice green candle that is so big you call it God. I'm thinking, but that'd be kind of nice. As long as you already have bought it. Now, if you were waiting to buy and then your God candle happens, holy banana bread, that would suck. Dave D says, already subscribed. There we go. Dave D is one of the 10. So nothing wrong with that. Oh, and there's that God candle right there. I'll check out your show. Tim Smith says, will the universe collapse before Roger Sugar rises its dividend again? Unfortunately, Tim, the answer is no, but partially because the universe is expanding too fast to collapse. We don't have enough mass to actually slow down expansion so that would start to collapse again. See, you're thinking of like the big crunch. Not going to happen, unfortunately, unless, of course, science is wrong. And there's something out there we don't know. That's always a possibility. I mean, we used to think the Earth was flat. Some people still think it's flat, but science is evolving. Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. Well, most of the things people think about in space absolutely were made in a Hollywood basement. Take, for example, lasers. So when you look at, we'll use Star Wars, so you can see their lasers firing, but the reality is the speed of light is so fast, you would not see that. So the second you have somebody in your sight and you hit the fire button, they're hit. And plus there'd be no distance. So if somebody couldn't be out of range of your laser, because that light's going to continue to travel, well, until it hits something. You could conceivably hit something from a very, very, very far distance. All right. Sci-fi, quantum physics and the whole time-space continuum, aka time travel. There we go. So Chad's thinking we get time travel in 20 to 29 years, or I don't know, or I see 20 with 29 years. Whatever. Okay. Okay, here we go. God Candle, a massive green candle that can propel Bitcoin towards new all-time highs with divine force. Very cool. Very cool. Praying to the God Candle. Tim Smith, I got a Reese's Big Crunch on Halloween one year. It collapsed my hunger. That's absolutely great. I love that. That was funny. Oh my God. Good one, Tim. Richard says 30 years like fusion. Well, they actually made some headway with fusion in 2023. So we'll have to see how that's all going to work out. It really depends. The big thing with fusion is you want to make sure that that it's not costing you more energy than what you're getting out. So you want to have you want to be as high net positive on the energy side as possible. All right, we've got my predictions for 2023. Now I made 10 of them, and we're gonna rank them. We're gonna talk about them. We're gonna give me some scores. So my first prediction for 2023, and there was a video. I don't know if any of you guys saw it or not, but it was out last January. So the first prediction I said that we would see a recession, but that it would be a pretty mild one. So that was the prediction I gave for 2023. So you guys all know we did not have a recession. Now, we came close. We did have those 2 negative months of GDP in a row, but then they went and adjusted one, turning it to positive. So it didn't actually happen. So that's a miss. That one absolutely is a miss. But the fact that we came close to what I said, like with that recession, I scored myself 3 out of 10 on that one. So that gives me, and that's the thing, we're going to score. We got 10 of them. We'll score each one out of 10. We'll add it up. We'll see what it is. So if I get more than 50%, then yay. If I get less than 50%, you guys should all unsubscribe. Oh dear. But yeah, so the recession one, yeah, that absolutely did not happen. So, 3 out of 10, but we came close. Chad says, or fission. And we're not going to do these all right in a row. We'll just sort of pepper them through a bit in between conversation. Wasn't Star Wars phasers? That was plasma or charged particle. That I'm not sure. I've never actually read a technical manual of what it is. One of the things I was trying to... One of the things I was kind of thinking is that if the lasers on Star Wars, like on the ships, were more of like some kind of a tracer, sort of like if you remember when they did like Gulf War, if you ever look at footage from the original Gulf War when Kuwait and Iraq thing, they use these lights on their ammunition. So it looked almost like lasers going up into the sky. So that could be plasma. Maybe you could get it a little bit small. Yeah, if it has mass. mean, if it has mass, it can't go at the speed of light, because if you accelerate mass to the speed of light, that mass becomes infinite. So, once again, relativity becomes kind of interesting in that. JJ says, wouldn't it be nuclear fission? Well, there's fission, there's fusion. Let's see here. No, I think it was Hollywood. I'm not sure what you're talking about with Hollywood. Or are you just saying that all space stuff is Hollywood? Chad, you don't think the world's flat, do you? Well, you might, but I've been up in an airplane high enough that I've seen the curvature of the Earth. So to me, that is definitely proof. Any hot picks for 2024? Oh, well, you got to watch. You got to continue watching the channel, my friend. I haven't done the research for 2024. Like, quite literally, after during this week coming up, that's when I'll start doing a lot of that research, because some of those videos should be hitting the following week. Well, there is nuclear fusion and fission. Yeah, there's both. They both exist. Skiz, they just redefined decession. You were right. I feel like I was right, but because it wasn't, I'm critical. Like, I'm critical on myself when it comes to making predictions, because I firmly believe that nobody can predict the future. So I'm happy with the 3 out of 10 on that. To me, that's worth a 3 out of 10, because I should have foreseen that little bit of a difference, but I'm happy with the 3 out of 10. Chad says 1 is a lot safer. GSI Island guy. Okay. Let's just skip over here. That last few rounds of a magazine can be tracers in the military, so you know to reload. Well, that makes sense. JJ says, yeah, okay, I'm totally a noob when it comes to the theory of relativity and astrophysics. Don't worry. JJ probably knows a lot more about, well, let's see. I believe JJ is more biology than anything else. So if we were to talk about, I'm trying to think of something, the role of the Golgi complex within a cell, JJ probably has a good idea of what's going on there. Chad says, you bet island. And Jonathan says, what do you think prevented a recession in 2023? I think in this case, there was a couple different things. One, I think immigration helped big time. Because we brought by bringing in a lot of extra people, it did stimulate the economy a little bit. I think it prevented it from falling as much as it could have. So I would say immigration is definitely a factor that prevented the recession. I think overall the economy and the job markets were stronger. And part of that job market is a lot of baby boomers did not come back to work after the pandemic. So we had a lot more vacancies than we probably should have. Now, if this all had happened, so this whole scenario, the pandemic, all the money printing, if this had happened 20 years ago, I think it would have been a given. We would have went into a recession. But all of these things, from the immigration, the hole left by baby boomers, I think that has really, really, really prevented that recession. It's kind of acted like a shield in a way. But, that could be very interesting. Now, let's see here. My number two prediction last year was on inflation. So I predicted that inflation would come down with the rate hikes, but I was a little skeptical and conservative. I thought we would only get down to 4%. So overall, yeah, I was right about inflation. Inflation came down. However, it made it to 3.1, so I'm not right. So, but I'm mostly right on this one. So I did score 8 out of 10, only because I was wrong on the target. I thought 4% year end, it was 3.1%. But yeah, the inflation was, I think, a pretty easy one. So yeah, 8 out of 10 on inflation. All right. Now, interest rates, number 3. We'll just get a couple of these out of the way. So I predicted that rate hikes would continue in the first part of the year until about the summer. I felt that we would get a pause, and maybe at the end of the year, there'd be talk of a small cut. We did, for the most part, once we hit the summer, there really wasn't much more when it comes. So I hit that part dead on. So when we did have a couple of rate hikes early leading up to the summer, the only part that kind of didn't hit was the cut. I thought I thought there was a chance that there could have been a small cut towards the end of the year, sort of to stimulate the economy around the holidays, but that did not happen. So once again, with this one, I gave myself an 8 out of 10 because I did miss that one little point. So yeah, anyway, those are the first three. So far we're doing 8 and 8 is 16. So that's 19 out of 30 so far. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. We still got a whole bunch more to do. Let's see. JJ says doctorate candidate in immunogenetics and cancer vaccines. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because I remember JJ was mentioning using a virus to go in and basically inject, I believe it was cancer cells with code that would, I don't know if it was kill it or something like that, but I remember JJ mentioning something in that vicinity, which is kind of cool. Tim says, I'm scared of relativity. My cousin owes me $200. Oh, yes, that was rim shot. Well deserved. Well deserved rim shot. Dear Lord, it's not even midnight and Facebook is already pushing Pelion ads. Oh, that was good. Let's see. Dear Lord, it's not even. Oops, we got there. What's Pelion? I'm not entirely sure. I've heard the name, but it's not coming up right now in my head. My head's like, no. My head's thinking about the next prediction. That was a generous 8. All right. Well, let's jump to that next prediction. The next prediction was the bear market. So I made a prediction on the bear market. I predicted that the bear market would end, but I also predicted that the bottom wasn't in yet. And here's a funny thing. I predicted there would be another drop early in the year, and I predicted 10%. So I said within the spring, basically by the spring, we would have a 10% drop. That was the prediction I made. So here's the funny thing. So the bear market, I feel like the bear market's over. I feel like, we're not going to, I think we already had our bottom at this point, even though everything, when you look at a lot of data says we haven't had the bottom, but I think we have. But here's the thing that was eerie. So between February and March, we had a 9% drop. Wasn't 10, but it was 9. So this one here, it was so damn close, other than the predicted bottom. And to be honest, it's hard to say. I mean, maybe we do have it. Maybe we do we fall out again after this year and hit that bottom, although I don't think we will. So I was actually generous. I gave myself a 9 out of 10 only because of that bottom. I'm beginning to feel like the bottoms come in and just everybody missed it. So it would have been not this October, but a year ago from October. So October of 2022, it looks like was the bottom of the bear market. So yeah, definitely really, really interesting. All right, Country Auto Garage, very expensive exercise equipment with subscriptions. I had a CV boom when everyone was staying home. Ah, that's why. So they're putting the ads out for the we're putting the ads out for the thing, right? For fitness, New Year's resolutions. A Skiz says 1% error of margin. That was a 10. The 1%, I didn't penalize myself for that, Skiz. I penalized myself for not predicting that the bottom was in. That was the part that I took the point off for. Now, the next one was a big miss. My crypto prediction for 2023. So I predicted that recovery was not going to happen in 2023. But I did say that the bottom was in, which was right. And I also said that Bitcoin was not really going to fall a lot, that I felt that, we were okay, at least for some sideways motion. That was absolutely wrong. I mean, other than the only thing I really got right on that is that the bottom was in. So I was right about that. But no, crypto absolutely did fantastic. So I gave myself 2 out of 10 on that one. That one was just, I could only give myself a partial because, Bitcoin recovered a lot faster than I thought it was going to. But that's great. I mean, there was things that happened. I think part of what helped Bitcoin is just the hype started building as we were moving towards the halving. And there was a lot of hype this year all about that spot Bitcoin ETF. So I think that really helped Bitcoin overall. So next prediction, my next prediction was the housing bubble. So I predicted the housing bubble was not going to burst in 2023. I said there would be small drops overall in the price of houses. Um, and I said more certainty in the later half of the year once the rate hikes stop. So more certainty to the real estate market. That was 100% on. That one was perfect. That was easily a 10 out of 10 on the housing bubble. So that one was fantastic. It was awesome. I did well on that one. So I definitely like that one. So yikes. The next prediction. Now we're getting through the predictions fast. That's fine. So we don't have to worry about anything. We can just talk. The next prediction was the best sectors. So I made a prediction. I was putting my weight behind energy and the natural resources. Well, energy kind of fizzled most of the year. It did pick up towards the end of the year, but then it's kind of dipped again at the very end. So I can't really call that much of a hit. It had an interesting thing, but the natural resources was the other, and the natural resources, big disappointment. I think there was so much potential for natural resources to really pick up. The only problem is there's so much red tape that they just weren't able to get through it. So some natural resources did well. So for example, gold did great. But I think a lot of the ones that lagged were even things like lithium I found to be a little bit on the disappointing side. So for the best sectors, I gave myself a 3 out of 10. I think I completely missed the best sectors. Now, the worst sectors, though, I did a lot better. Worst sectors, I came in with the financial sector. And yeah, look at where the banks ended up. And real estate. And so, yeah, I mean, the banks and the real estate, both of those were going to be very hard hit when it came to rate hikes. And, so that one, to me, that one was a very easy one. So that's an easy 10 out of 10 on the worst sectors. Definitely easy. All right, we got 2 left. We'll get through these 2 and then we'll come back. I made a prediction on the labor shortage. I predicted that it would persist for most of the year. Predicted that the strength in the labor market would help delay the recession or make it mild. Yeah, that's exactly. Holy cow. Just give me a second here. That is exactly what happened. That to the T. So that was an easy 10 out of 10 on that one. All right. Then the last one. Now, I did not know I was going to be rating these. So I thought it would be fun for my 10th prediction last year to come up with something absolutely crazy. So I predicted that Elon Musk was going to make an artificial Elon bot and upload it with a copy of his consciousness, in the form of a sort of an AI that, an AI Elon, an AI Elon. So, well, yeah, Elon did not make an artificial Elon bot that we know of with a copy of his consciousness, but he did actually make an AI of his own. I was very generous and gave myself a 1. I gave myself a 1 out of 10 on that one because, yeah, just a 1. That was just a crazy one. This year, I will still make a black swan prediction because this was a black swan prediction, but I'll try to think of something a little more realistic. So overall, out of 100, when we add these all up, I got 64. So I came in with a 64%. So I think that beats a lot of psychics. So I just want to put that out there. I think I beat the psychics. So yeah, that's just fun. Oh dear. All right. Now we got all the stuff out of the way. Now we're just going to talk until you guys don't want to talk anymore. Simple as that. Country Auto says, I predict bidding wars in housing with first rate cut. That's not a bad prediction. Not a bad prediction. We'll have to see how this is all going to work out. Vancouver Isle guy is having some fun because Elon is a bot. Work in progress. Again, you were right. Maybe. Miss Cleo would be proud. Yeah, good old Miss Cleo. So that's kind of a fun one. Yeah, it was kind of interesting. Like when I made the predictions, I didn't actually realize I was going to be marking them at the end of the year. Sort of it's like a surprise, like a pop quiz kind of thing. So that's kind of fun. Um, Jonathan says, I'm calling Miss Candace. Only $3.99 per minute. Yeah, absolutely. Holy banana bread. That's kind of good. That's good. I'll start up my own little prediction line. I remember at late night you used to always get these 900 commercials. Call Mrs. Cleo and she'll let you know what to do. It's always fun. And let's see, that would push inflation up again. Country Auto Garage, you're still miles better than Jim Cramer. That's funny. There's actually, I think there's an inverse ETF out there that basically bets against everything Jim Cramer promotes. So I heard about that, and I thought that was just hilarious when I did that. $5 cheaper than cleaning. Cleaning what? I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like 2023, I mean, 2023 has been a fantastic year to a certain extent. I mean, it's been a fantastic year in that it was kind of neat just to see how everything interacted and how everything turned out. I mean, I know that for a lot of people, 2023 was absolutely, like a poop storm of a year. Nobody really thought very highly of it. But we have to. There we go. We have to sort of just live with what we get, right? Chad says, whoops. Chad says, oh, wait a minute. Nope, I almost missed a whole bunch of stuff. So, JJ, are we having that Discord channel in 2024? Not gonna lie, I'm kind of hyped for that. Yes, we will have the Discord channel in 2024. That is a Q1 goal for the channel, is to get that Discord channel up and running. Skiz says, they are shorting Jim Cramer. Yeah, they are. It's funny. Just do the opposite. Yeah, just do the opposite of what Crazier says. Sometimes, yeah. What do you think of Baba in 2024? So this is Alibaba over in China. Right now, I think I'm a little hesitant. I think that would be something that I would watch opposed to jump in on only because with so much stuff moving, like so much production moving to India, with the US trying to pull a lot of stuff back from China, it worries me a tiny bit just about stuff going on in China. So I would certainly, oh, sorry, I saw the next sentence about Clio. I would certainly just be a little bit careful when it comes to what's going on in China. But at the same time, Alibaba did fall quite a bit. So, it could be a good entry point. Just don't get your hopes up on it. That's what I would say. Or put more money in it than you're willing to lose. So yeah, Clio, so cleaning equals Clio. Autocorrect. Okay, that's funny. Now that makes sense now. And Chad says, Baba, stay away. He's not far off the mark. I would be hesitant. I would be careful with it. That's for sure. And JJ says, stay away, not touching it with a 10-foot long pole. There we go. Skiz, I bet the Discord will be members only. No way. I will probably put a room in the Discord because I think I can do it, that I could make a members only room. But I don't even know if I'm going to do that part. I might just make it for everybody because the members get the extra videos and stuff. We'll see. I mean, the members might demand it, and I try to do what the members say, but we'll go from. Let's get the Discord up and running first for everybody, and then we'll look after that. JJ says the GoFundMe for Skiz is reels. Your croissant is ready. I can smell a croissant. Holy banana bread. Yeah, that's an after the show croissant. That's, I'm not going to eat a croissant on the air because, there'd be little crumbs going everywhere. It would look like a little storm of flaky pastry. And that's never a good thing. A Country Auto Garage says, how much weight, if any, insiders buying heavy would have on your decision of buying a stock? I like to look at what's going on with insider trading. So you got insider selling, insider buying. When I see a lot of insider buying, I'm still going to look at all the other fundamentals. If the fundamentals are good and then I see insider buying, that could definitely really spur me on to be a lot more pro for that company because it shows that the staff, the people working at the company feel really good about the company. And these are the people who kind of have, they're living that life. I'm looking at the fundamentals and I'm kind of piecing together what's going on with the company from that. But these are the people who are on that inside of the company. And the same thing goes. Now, with insider selling, though, here's the thing. I have to look at something. One thing I look at is I look at the stock price before the insider selling. So if insider selling happens after there's been a big peak in the stock price, not just people taking profits. That's all that is. And I look at it that way. Now, if the company does not have, peaks in the price, and yet you're seeing insider selling, then I start to question, okay, well, what's going on? Why are these people jumping ship? So I always try to look and get a bigger picture, and I look at the fundamentals. So never ever look at one thing alone and make your decision on that. Take the bigger picture, pull things together. The more pieces of the puzzle you put together, the better your prediction on what exactly it is you're looking at. Let's see. Chad says, yeah, ex-military every fifth round was a tracer in their theater of war. Oh, there we go. Back to the tracers again. If this stream gets up to 50 viewers watching now, I'm taking off my socks. Holy banana bread. I'm not 100% sure, Tim, if I want to get to 50 viewers now. I'm not a fan of used sock smell, but JJ says, ooh, freshly warmed pastry is making me hungry. I haven't eaten anything since lunch hours ago. Oh, wow. Yeah. No, I hear you. That's definitely a long one. Like lunch is like really, really long. Now, here's one of the beautiful things. When it comes to pastries, those of you who've never been to Montreal, holy banana bread. It's like they take pastries and they put steroids in them or something. Because, you want to get a butter tart in Canada. There's, it's a nice little thing. You go to Montreal and it's like 10 times as thick and it's almost big. And it's like, you could almost pull a muscle if you pick it up the wrong way. I mean, I'm just putting that out there. The people in Montreal, they know how to make pastries. They make probably the best pastries in Canada. Set those toes free, says Jonathan. Wow. Oh, and Richard says, if I hit 50 viewers, I'll eat another banana bread. I don't actually know how high we got. I know one point in this stream, we were up in the 40s. Right now, we're sitting at, according to my little thing up there, it says we have 33 people in here right now. So I don't know if I got to the 43 or not, but I'm hoping I did. Tim Smith says, free the toe. Here's a new thing. Free the toe. Let's see. Q1 task for Candace would be to launch the banana bread coin. That, that would be fun. I mean, it would be fun to have our own coin. But realistically, I think I've got 100 things in front of that right now. I doubt I'm going to do that. I doubt I'm going to actually. One is pulling, if you're going to launch a coin, it does take a lot of capital and you need and if you don't have that capital, you need a good amount of investors to get pump the capital in for that coin. And then you need a function too. Like just having a coin because, I wouldn't want to have our version of Doge, sort of a joke coin because, although it would be a cool joke coin, it would be a very cool meme coin for sure. Skiz says, to the moon on that meme coin, I bet Elon would invest. Maybe he would. Tim says, Candace has red hair. Shouldn't it be called gingerbread coin? Yeah, $ GBC. There we go. We'll have a gingerbread coin. That would definitely be funny. No doubt about it. Prediction from JJ that it beats Dogecoin straight up. Well, maybe. But then again, a literal Dogecoin is going to the literal moon. I think I can't remember when it's supposed to land, but there is a landing on the moon where they're going to drop a Dogecoin or physical representation of a Dogecoin. I think it's in the spring. But that is supposed to actually happen. So Doge might have a little bit of a pump based on the news. But that's one of those situations where, you know what? It's like you buy Doge, you watch the price go up to the landing, then you sell. you got to do it. Sort of like when Elon was on Saturday Night Live. The price of Doge went up, and then as soon as Elon started talking, the price just plummeted. So you kind of have to do it that way. So just sort of keep that in mind. A mountain coin, yeah, I could see that. Dogecoin on the moon. Humans amaze me. Humans do amaze me sometimes. Like, people are pretty cool. Dave D says it would be a token unless you're going to make your own blockchain. Oh, well, I could ask ChatGPT to make a blockchain for me. Funny thing is we're kind of in that place now where you can actually get AI to make a blockchain. But I have a feeling that as AI gets better and it gets easier to make blockchains, you're going to see so many coins, which is one of the reasons why stick to the ones that have been around for a while. Those are the ones that are going to probably have better chances of real value than the others. JJ says, NGL, BBC sounds more ominous and meme-like. Will get better. Hopefully. That's that thing. Let's see. Meyer as well have Shiba. Yeah, Shiba Inu, I know, did well for a while. And so, or okay, that's Might. Oh, Might as well have Shiba. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I look at it this way. For me, I like to see function in something I'm investing in. So if there's no function in a coin, or a form of crypto, then I'm going to be very hesitant. Not to say like, I did play Doge a little bit. I, jumped in before before a couple of pumps and rode it up a little bit and then sold. But I mean, that's just good investing sometimes. Well, technically that's not really investing, that's swing trading. So, it comes one of these things down. What the hell was I just saying? It comes down to being one of these things where you really just want to look at investing in things that make sense to you. Kind of going back the whole Warren Buffett thing. Warren Buffett says you don't need to have a ton of stuff. You just need to find those companies that make sense, that you understand, that you have full confidence in, and do that. Now, Tim wants to go to Mars, I think. What do people need to do to colonize Mars? Isn't there too much radiation? Yeah, there's definitely radiation on Mars. So to colonize Mars, what you would want to do, and probably the best thing to do, is first of all, to deal with the radiation, you want to find a place on Mars where you have like lava tubes. That would be probably the best place to start building, to actually start building a settlement, is within lava tubes, because then you've got the planet. So the crust of the planet actually providing protection from that radiation. But yeah, there's that. You also need to find a source of water, because it's too expensive to be dragging a lot of stuff. So you want to find all the materials on Mars to be able to produce everything from iron, things like that. So there's a lot of work involved. Now, will we colonize Mars? Probably. It's going to take a while, though. If anything, what you're probably going to see is going back to Elon and his robots. But imagine if you have all of these AI-controlled robots that you could send to Mars first. You can still send people to do some simple explorations, but send a team of AI-controlled robots to Mars first and have them do all of the heavy lifting. Have them set up a habitation, I guess we call it, some kind of colony underground, things like that, just to sort of get around it. Now, if you're looking at long term, you're thinking, okay, well, what about the atmosphere? Could we fix it? Could we terraform it? You can, but one of the problems too is that you have less gravity with Mars. So because there's less gravity, even if you start pumping, like greenhouse gases and things like that into the atmosphere of Mars, you're going to have a certain amount of leakage just to space, because you don't have as much gravity to hold it in. But it could be done. You would, though, be constantly replenishing any of the stuff that gets lost to space. So yeah, you could do it. I mean, you could do it. It's going to take a while. Like, I don't think you're going to see a city on Mars um, within the next 50 years or anything that close. But then again, things sometimes do surprise us. So let's just keep that in mind. Dave says Bone Shiba swap better than SHIB. I've heard this. I have heard this. Chad says Terra done. There we go. Skiz says, is it possible every current coin's crypto challenge becomes a moot point for AI and only new coins that have the advantage of AI or maybe quantum flourish? I mean, whoa, not an earthquake. It was just my desk moved a bit. Yes, there's always a possibility. There's always a possibility that AI could completely revolutionize a lot of different things, but we're not even remotely there yet. So I don't think you have anything to worry. But this is one of these things, one of the reasons to always be paying attention to what's coming down the line. Like, once AI starts making its own crypto and starts messing around with blockchains, you want to take note. You want to figure out what's going on, because you don't want to sort of find out at the last minute of what's happening. But right now, I don't think that's even a remote danger. Dome is go to Mars any day. And Ian is closer to Mars than we are because he is on a plane. There we go. JJ says, how's the view, Ian? Oh, he's still on the ground. All right, I take that back. He's not closer to Mars yet. He will be soon, but not yet. Where are you flying to? You think you said, you're in Toronto, right? Right now you're flying out of Toronto? Larry says the big thing will be space mining, driving meteors into planners and harvesting. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, space mining, there's a lot of minerals in the asteroids out there. And plus, I think was it Apophis that we just visited? We brought back a sample, a pure sample from, I think it was Apophis. And in that sample, they found all kinds of interesting stuff. Like, they found water. They found a lot of carbon. So basically a lot of the building blocks towards life. Not molecules or anything like that, but we're talking about a lot of carbon, a lot of water. So it's really interesting to sort of think of what is out there. We know that there are asteroids out there that have gold. I think there's one asteroid that has so much gold in it that if we were to actually capture and bring it back to Earth, it would collapse the gold market because of how much gold is involved in it. But keep in mind, it's a complicated process. I mean, first of all, we're talking about altering an orbit of an asteroid. So the math has to be dead on, because if it's a big asteroid, let's say it's a planet-sized killing asteroid, you don't want to mess up changing its orbit and have it hit the Earth instead of fall into an orbit around the Earth. And even then, once it's in orbit around the Earth, it's expensive to fly up and do all of your mining. So what I would suggest is instead of the Earth, perhaps the place to do it, if you want to do mining, is maybe like the moon or something. At least get it into an orbit around the moon, and you could fly up and down from the moon a lot easier to at least do the mining. But then you still have to transport the stuff from the moon back to the Earth. But still, it's possible. Tim says, I only now just realized we aren't talking about the Mars candy bar. That's funny. All right, I'm flying to Colombia. A one-way ticket to Colombia. Oh dear. Well, and you're talking about like South America, Colombia. Is that? I just want to make sure that I have that correct. JJ says Snickers is better than Mars, in my opinion. Snickers is a good bar. I will definitely give it that. Skiz says we all know aliens seeded Earth. Meteors got nothing. I wouldn't say that aliens seeded Earth. But I can't disagree with it, but I can't prove it. But it is thought that a lot of, like, for example, water, like the water on the Earth, a lot of it came from some of the early bombardment of the planet. So a lot of comets have a high amount of water and ice in them. And now we know that these asteroids have water in them. So yeah, we think a lot of the water and a lot of the carbon and things like that probably came from asteroids. Now, the beautiful thing, and this is when you're thinking about life in the universe, um, if this is a normal process and it's easy to get water and carbon and things like that from, just from normal bombardment, it means that the chances of there being life in the universe is a lot higher um, than we perhaps thought in the past. And that's a good thing. Not to say, now keep in mind, that means life. That doesn't mean intelligent life. It may be very hard to get to the point where you have intelligent life. We could be, an aberration. I don't think we're the only intelligent life in the universe. That would be absolutely daft to think that. But yeah, it could be hard. We could be, or there's always the possibility that we are the first to get this far without wiping ourselves out. But even then, that seems to me to be that would be very egotistical of humans to sort of make that claim. So I imagine there's other stuff out there. So yes, South America, retiring in Colombia, living the dream. Oh, not really nice weather. Volcanoes down that way. I think in Colombia you got volcanoes. I know you got a lot of volcanoes in Central America, and then once you get to the top part of South America, for sure. It's obvious, Skiz, who else crafted the Egyptian pyramids? Humans, hella weak. No, I don't know who crafted the Egyptian pyramids. I just assumed it was Egyptians, but it's not a situation that necessarily it has to be aliens. It could just very well be that we had some very crafty people in the past. Maybe even craftier than we have today. Who knows? To me, that would be more logical, but heck, you never know, right? Tim says, we are down to 23 viewers. Whoever is the last viewer gets a signed autograph. I don't know about that. I'll have to start taking pictures and signing them and sending them out. That would be fun. But we'll do the countdown pretty soon because it is, this is turning into a 3-hour stream. This is probably the longest stream we've ever done on this channel. I'm just putting that out there. Ian says, if I sold my house, I would be close to retiring, going to work part-time for the next 5 years. So Ian's only 42. So 5 years in Colombia and then back probably to Canada, unless Ian decides to stay there. JJ says, living the digital nomad life. There we go. As long as Ian has a good internet connection and can, show up and keep us all updated on his life, this will be fantastic. Yeah, Skiz has got to go to a New Year's Eve party. Yeah, that was the thing. So we're going to do that thing. What time is it? All right, so it's 9:46. So what we'll do is we'll do a countdown for 10 o'clock. So that's 10 o'clock Eastern. So that means somewhere's in the Atlantic Ocean, probably some island or something. It's going to be 2024. We're going to celebrate their New Year's. So we will do that at 10 o'clock. So keep in mind, so we got 13 minutes to do that. So throw in them questions, comments, chats. Tell me anything you guys want to tell me. And then we'll do it. And you know what? If we're going to do the New Year's countdown, I don't have a ball to fall, but you know what I do have? I have the bell. We can ring the bell for New Year's. So New Year's out in the middle of the Atlantic. Although technically, it's only a half an hour off from Newfoundland. So somewhere's out there. I don't. There you go. Jill says it's on an iceberg. So an iceberg in the North Atlantic. We're going to celebrate their New Year's. This is going to be awesome. Tim says, great stream. JJ says, probably going to dip out soon too. Yeah, like I said, this is like a really long stream.
Sorry, I don't understand.
That's okay. My watch even wants to get involved. It's like, what's going on here? Ian says, I'm a millwright, not a digital nomad. I can barely run my phone. Oh dear. Well, I can barely millwrite. So, it works. We all have our strengths, right? And JJ has changed it to living the physical millwright life. All right. So I'm going to keep my eyes on the time, and we will do that 10-second countdown, and we'll get all ready. So we've still got 12 minutes. Well, technically 11 minutes, exactly 11 minutes. And we'll get that going. So while you guys are coming up with your questions, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to try one last time to hit Skiz in 2024. Let's just do it. Let's see if we can do it. All right, here we go. All right, come on, Skiz. This is your last chance. You won't get another chance for another year. All right, here we go. Let's take a look. We'll see. Did I hit Skiz? If I did, that would be absolutely... No, I hit CF. Hey, I've seen CF was in here tonight, so good going, CF. You have won a membership, not Skiz, but CF. If I've seen the person in chat, I'm okay with Skiz losing, but I still want Skiz to win. But what can I say? There we go. Yeah, not Skiz. And Tim says the only APP or the only app I've ever used is Ticketmaster because they force you no more paper tickets. I know. Boo, YouTube. What can you say? I do not know. I don't understand YouTube. I don't know how they can just keep on missing Skiz. It's like, it's crazy. What's going on? But holy banana bread. So there's not too much we can do on this. So coming up this week, guys, we have the next update in the 0 to 100K challenge. That is coming out on Tuesday, but those of you who are channel members, not Skiz, can see that when I upload it, probably tomorrow. That'll get uploaded. Coming up on Friday, it's the 2024 prediction video. So my 10 predictions for 2024, and then we'll do this again, of course, at the Jill has just informed me that it's Greenland, and that's perfect. Because we like a green market. So Greenland, green market, it kind of works. Awesome. So yeah, we got 8 minutes, about 8 minutes and a bit. So that's kind of cool. Woo, I like that. Tim says, Shiz is broke anyway. Unless it's a membership to Dollarama, you really can't help him. Oh dear. Them are fighting words. Tim and Skiz will soon be, we'll have a little cage match out back. We'll get Ticketmaster to sell the tickets for that one. You get an app for that, right? So you're good. JJ says the algorithm is biased. Confirmed. Yeah, look at that. Absolutely. Look at Solana, up 930%. Yeah, Solana is that one that I tell you, if I wish I had predicted Solana and then put my money where my prediction was. That's for sure. Chad says flipped XRP posse or posse. There we go. Posse. Yeah, that's going to be fun. Also coming up this week, I can't forget, we've got 2 market closes. So on Tuesday, we have the last of the giveaway market closes. So we'll finish off that part. But then going forward in the new year, we're doing market closes every single Wednesday. So that is going to happen on Wednesday. We'll start. So we got 2 market closes, 2 great videos. It's going to be cool. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. That's what we got in the week. It's awesome. All right. We're looking at the countdown as we celebrate. I was going to say Thanksgiving. As we celebrate New Year's in Greenland coming up in basically 8 minutes, not even 8, like 7 minutes, not even 7, like a little less than 7. Tim says, I'm confused when rich people lose their mind over climate. Oh, do you mean rich people? I'm confused when rich people lose their mind over climate change and then take a private jet to go to the beach. Yeah. What's up with that? There's probably, here's the thing. I don't mind somebody being all up on climate change. But if you're going to preach on climate change and then you go and do the exact opposite of what you're preaching, it kind of loses a little bit of of your credibility. But yeah, but no, I totally respect it. If you want to preach climate change and carbon footprint and you live what you're preaching, I have 100% respect for you, and I respect your right to preach it too. Um, one of those fun things. So you too, Tim, because yes, oh, I missed it. Here we go. Tim said a great happy new year to you and Jill. Yeah, absolutely. The other Tim, so we got Tim squared in here. So the other Tim says, I'm confused when rich people. Oh, we just did that one. Holy banana bread. Well, let's jump over to Paul. Paul's in the house. Hello, Paul. Good to see you. He says, Happy New Year. Chad says, not enough silver for nature resources are natural. So not enough silver for natural resources. It all goes to China and EV solar panels. I think there's a lot. I think there's still a lot. Like silver is not as scarce as gold. So I think we're okay. But it's just that we probably have to get through a lot of that red tape to maybe open up more silver mines if that's the situation. But right now, I haven't seen, like when I look at silver and gold, I've seen a lot of pressure on the price of gold. Silver's moved up a bit, but it hasn't impressed me yet. Not like gold has. I still think silver is good long term, but gold right now has been just on a burn the last year. Skiz says, I got to catch an Uber. Happy New Year's all, 2024. I know I'll win a sub. All right, we'll hold you to it, Skiz. You got to win. Your luck has got to come in 2024. Have a fantastic party, my friend. Sophie says, Happy New Year, crew. Awesome live stream, Candace. Yes, look at this. This is coming up. This is a 3-hour live stream. I'm like, wow, I did not even think I would do a 3-hour live stream because I tend to keep them down to about an hour because I got to talk the whole time. And it's like, luckily I had this, well, I still have a little bit, so I'll probably do this now because, live, the bell's coming up. It's cold coffee now, so it's now gone from a hot coffee to iced coffee, but it still tastes good. I'm okay with that. A Vancouver Isle guy is throwing a Happy New Year out there to Skiz. And JJ says, Skiz ain't broke enough for an Uber at least. Yeah, there we go. Good old Uber. Honestly, I admit, we use Uber. Anytime we have to go somewhere and the weather's not nice here, we just use Uber. It's as simple as that. Paul says, I just got here, so might rewind. It might take 5 minutes to rewind, Paul, because it's 3 hours. Holy cow. So yeah, we definitely had a long one, but it's been fun. I mean, holy cow, this has actually been a really good this is probably, honestly, guys, I think this is the best New Year's I've had in a few New Year's, for sure. So just absolutely awesome. I mean, we'll have to do it again next year. And maybe next year we'll even start it an hour later so that we can hit the New Year's of Halifax or something like that. So yeah, that's definitely cool. Vancouver Isle guy says, just like Starman in the Tesla orbit. All right. We're down to just over 2 minutes. Ian says, do you think a WCP will grow as much as banks in 2024? It's hard to say. I mean, I do like WCP, so I would definitely put them on your watch list. And they probably, I would say the first half of the year, WCP will probably do a little better than the big six. But once we get the cuts, it's going to be interesting. It's going to see how much those banks are going to move. That's going to be the interesting part to sort of calculate for sure. Chad says, no car, JJ car more. Cars are very expensive. And it's kind of interesting. A lot of people now, especially in cities where, if you don't have to go around, if you don't have to do a lot of stuff, it almost makes sense to, just to rent a car when you need one. And Jill said something about you can now rent cars from Uber, not like with a driver, like you can actually rent the car from them. So that's kind of interesting. And I guess it's a way that some people, are able to rent out their cars, I guess. But, be interesting to see how that all works out. I have not tried any of that yet, but, the option is there. My goal though, because I've just recently gotten my license, is that I don't plan to drive until the spring. I want to let the winter, I don't want to, You know, as a new driver, I don't want to be out there in the winter, but the spring will be a different story altogether. So I'm okay with that. Oh, wow, guys, we've got 1 minute left. 1 minute left until we ring in the New Year's in Greenland. This is going to be great. Well, I probably should turn my color green for Greenland. Alexa, turn Candace office green. Watch this.
Okay.
Watch this. There we go. There we go. Green for Greenland. This is going to be great. Vancouver Isle guy says 15-minute cities to the rescue. Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, it's pretty easy to get around nowadays. I mean, even with Uber, I mean, it's, you know, I've never seen us ever having to wait for more than like five minutes, really. Most times we call Uber, it's here within 5 minutes. All right, guys. Oh, we're getting ready for the countdown. I got the bell. All right, let's get ready. Ooh. Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! Woo! Woo! Yay, Greenland! Yay, Greenland! There we go. It's now 2024 in Greenland, everybody.
Happy New Year.
There was Jill saying Happy New Year. Holy cow, this is absolutely fantastic. All right, we're going to clean these up and we're going to leave here in a little bit. So if you got last second, get them in. We're cleaning it all up.
Suggestions. New adjective other than fantastic for 2024.
All right, there's Jill's input. We'll take that with a grain of salt. A chat says 2023, a roller coaster. Buy when fearful, sell when people are greedy, and you always win. Oh gosh. See, I have a hard time with some words. This word I have a hard time with. Etopocoke. We'll go with that. Hopefully I said it right. 11:29 in Newfoundland. And yay to Greenland now in 2024. Cheers, you all, says JJ. We should almost have, I wish I had like a song behind me or something. Chad says, USA in war with China now, plus 4 other wars, hence why TSM moved to USA. Okay, well, I don't think they're actually at a war right now, but let's just leave that be. And Ian says, Happy New Year on the plane. Have you taken off yet? I hope so. And Jonathan says, a huge thanks to Jill. I guess Jonathan doesn't like the word fantastic either. So maybe we might have to do it. And JJ says the KE in a Tebacock. I don't. Okay, that sounded really bad. I'm just gonna leave that word alone. I vow to never say. I vow to never say that city name again, ever.
City name? Say it again.
Not gonna say it. And Ian's flight is delayed. Well, at least you had Greenland's New Year's here on Mountain Finance. We'll be back here again next year. We're going to do this again. We're going to keep doing this. This is fantastic. So anyway, guys, it has been a wonderful night. Thank you all for being here. Take care. We'll see you soon. Enjoy the rest of your new year, and we'll see you next year.